Okay, we're back. The shinobi that attacked Kao's computer has been adequately trampled. He has now been sent into the wherever they go after they get trampled land. We are back, and we do have a game to jump into. Sorry about the wait, guys. I know that can be kind of frustrating. As you guys know, it takes a lot of effort to get this thing going, but we are back in. We're going to go ahead and dive into the game. So, game number one, Marine Lord versus Puppy Paw. It's going to be red and blue. In the red, in the blue, it's going to be Marine Lord as Byzantines can fought with the red Malians. We start things off here. So, welcome back. Yeah, good to have you. You never left my side, but you're still here too.
Indeed, I was always here in spirit, Sokotin, as well as in body on the other side of the world in this case. However, already we have a bit of an interesting opener here from Marine Lord. Double house to opt and go into that cistern right afterwards. Whereas for Puppy Paw's Malians, very standard opening here for him in turn. Curious to see what we see out of these players here today. Quite a few different directions this matchup can go, even more so lately than before. Forward pit mine here for Puppy Paw is quite exposed, so that might become a point of contention very early in this game.
Yeah, it definitely could be. Signs from Marine Lord so far. I don't see anything coming out. It doesn't have any kind of Dark Age barracks or anything, so I don't think we're going to get any. So far, no really Dark Age aggression, I think, unless I'm proven wrong in the next couple seconds, but we're going to be moving on into Feudal Age as we see the sheep being gathered by the respective players.
Now, we do have the... I was just going around the map picking up the sheep as necessary, and like you mentioned, Sokotin, yeah, there's no Dark Age shenanigans here for Marine Lords Byzantines, which is typically a bit tough for Byzantines to do. The timings are just kind of awkward for him, right? However, we do see that Puppy Paw's second pit mine is also rather exposed, right? It does teeter down there towards the south of the first one. There is in fact one towards the northwestern side as well, which is rather safe compared to the initial one. However, we'll have to see which one he opts to go for. We have the winery now coming up first from Marine Lord, and only two on the age up in this situation here, right? So this could be indicative of a 2TC play here from Marine Lord's Byzantines, which is not something too out of the blue, right? It is in fact quite possible for Biz to go 2TC here to keep up with that cow boom scaling. And in doing so, it allows Byzantines to potentially outmass later on in the game. They just have to tide themselves over in that initial difficult phase once the cow boom is in full swing, if that is something Puppy Paw does opt for. But once that is outscaled, then Marine Lord can look to move across the map with his Byzantines. I won't be surprised to see a little bit of deer shoving coming in here as well. So far, normal setup.
Wonderful, get some fun pro spears like we did last series. Yeah, got the classic landmarks coming up for both players here. It's a good spot for that. With the berries right there, nice and tucked away in the backside. You always love to see that when you're the Byzantines. Meanwhile, Manticore coming up pretty quick. 6 on that. He's really rushing that up with a lot of speed.
Yeah, it's a big rush on the Manticore. This is something that's very reminiscent of old Malians when they first got figured out after being released. People went for that 6 age up on the Manticore into those Warrior Scouts. Of course, that is somewhat a thing of the past now, the Warrior Scouts having lost quite a bit of power from how they were beforehand. But it is going to be the stable opener here for Puppy Paw, so Pro Scout's likely on the cards here for him, but there is no mill being thrown up yet. Marine Lord doing a good effort here pushing in the deer, but it does get spotted by Puppy Paw, so that is going to get denied.
Was trying to do the poor man's Pro Scouts instead. Puppy Paw says, "Oh, whoa, no way. You got to pay to play here. Got to buy those professional scouts yourself." Grand Winery going up with just 2. So a little later of the age up, coming in at 440 something, maybe 450. And lots of stone coming in.
Yeah, this...
Able to get that second cistern up fairly quickly with that.
I feel like this must be...
Actually, you almost could just do a second town center. Yeah, that's a lot of stone.
This must be
which would explain the 2...
here, right?
Explains the slower age up as well, right? If he's going to just do 2, lets him to get some gathering.
Yeah, and otherwise he would have started that second cistern already by now.
Where do you put this? Oh, maybe right there. Yeah, great spot by Vodka there, our observer, to point out exactly where that probably is going to end up.
That'll be a really
Scouts
good
trying to
spot
duke
for
it
the
out.
TC. The tough part is protecting it, right? I mean, if Puppypaw opts to play very aggressive here, maybe even drop a tower to deny that deer and gold, this could actually be very, very dangerous, I think, for Marine Lord in this kind of a position. Puppypaw now moving out onto his own deer to boost that food income, finding himself with a lot of map control now suddenly after spotting the 2TC play from Byzantine, so there's going to be no units for a while.
Scouts trying to do some damage here. It's kind of difficult to get a good hit. Obviously, they're not nearly as good as Horsemen or a Knight would be, but, you know, they can do pretty good damage with the Warrior Scouts. They can do some damage, but hasn't gotten a kill yet for the effort. Just a little bit of annoyance from Puppypaw. Gonna try again here. If he can get a pick off, it'd be pretty good. That Scout's pretty weak, however. Maybe just a hit or two away. More Scouts coming in. He does lose one, but two more joining the fray. He's just looking to get any kind of value he can.
Yeah, idle time in these situations does add up, right? Every little counts at this tremendously high level of play, right? Any tiny advantage that you can get, you will get. Just like in this situation here. Another
one goes down,
for Puppy, so he has to be quite careful here, right? These scouts.
And a third! Oof, you know, this is starting to feel not so worth. He's lost a lot more food than he's gotten out of it, right?
Yeah,
and there's
I don't think
he's now to defend.
It looks like he's not opting for any pro scouts behind this or anything either for Puppypaw, right? There's no deer being gathered. He intentionally moved out onto it instead with a mill. So the scouts, I wonder if it was a bait or if it was just or whether that was the plan from the beginning to just get a little bit of harassment, maybe force some Limitane out. But the macro from Puppypaw does look like he's inching towards an age up, and with this kind of a
definitely.
setup, this must be
maybe he's just trying
right?
to get a reaction from Marine Lord to go some spears, maybe thinking he's going to go for maybe some pro scouts or do something. Maybe you're right. Maybe I wonder if it's like trying to be just a bait, just trying to get him to have a reaction. Because he's lost a lot of scouts on this. Thankfully, scouts aren't super expensive as far as units go, but every little loss matters when you're at this high level. Puppypaw looking to take his first game off of Marine Lord in quite some time. But he is definitely getting very close to Castle Age, and he doesn't really have any cows out. I'm guessing this is going to be Farimba Garrison. I was going to say, it's got to be the play here then. And sure enough, dropping it down with 9.
It has to be
playing for a castle timing play. And Marine Lord's quite a ways back now. He is on 2 TCs, and this could work, right? When you do this, Fast Castle can counter 2 TCs if you can time the tempo. It's all about the tempo then, and getting in there and making that investment not pay off. So there's definitely a window, but that's the tricky thing, is a window is open, but it can most certainly close if you miss that opportunity.
It's especially tough as Malians as opposed to other saves going for castle timings, because you don't have access to the same units that other saves do, right? You don't have a typical all-around armored units such as the men-at-arm for Malians. So I'm very curious to see what choice we're going to see from this Farimba. I assume it's not going to be javelins here, as there's no archery ranges prepped, and yeah, with the barracks dropped actually, this must be a play into either Mansa Musafadi or Freeborn.
We'll find out here in just a second as the age up clicks in, and Freeborn Warriors are going to be coming out. Not something you see every day from Malians. Fun to see this kind of build, and you know, this is one of those instances where it kind of could work again, right? Because the 2TC it leaves Marine Lord a bit vulnerable. He is trying to macro quickly to Castle Age. He's got 600 gold, but not enough food just yet. So I wonder if he'll try and reinvest a little bit or rebalance.
Yeah, this could get very, very interesting here for us. Like you mentioned, Sokotin, Freeborn, quite a rare choice from the Farimba. Even Farimba itself not always being the choice for most Malian players. But the Freeborn Warrior, for those who aren't aware, as we just don't see the unit very often, it is a special unit to the Malians, and it is an anti-ranged specialist that is pretty much impervious to arrow fire almost. They have very, very high ranged armor. I think even more so than a men-at-arm, if I'm not mistaken, but could be corrected on that. But they also have a very high movement speed compared to a men-at-arm, so these units can dive TCs and chase villages for days, which is exactly what might be on the cards here for Puppypaw.
Which is what he needs to get to doing quickly, though. The tricky thing is that there's Horsemen and Limitane on the field. looking to keep him away. But if he can get these guys in, Golden Horn Tower clicking up, Marine Lord not that far behind. And this is the tricky thing with Byzantines. They get up in Castle Age so fast when they're not terribly molested as they've been. And he hasn't harassed him enough to do much. He hasn't lost really any vills yet. So that Golden Horn Tower kicking right up. And as this scales up, it's going to get really tough for Puppy Paw if this window shuts on him, because he doesn't have any cows behind this. He doesn't have a whole lot of passive resources besides the pit mines. So he needs to kind of really take some good fights and make that second town center not worth it to stay in this game, because otherwise the eco for Byzantines just scales so well with 2 TCs.
Of course, a lot of damage has to be dealt here by Puppy Paw, right, to really make this play worth it, because this is kind of, I mean, it makes you very one-dimensional here, right? This is just mass freeborn right now for Puppy Paw, only one Soph on the field. And the tricky thing with freeborn is, although they are very, very effective against any kind of ranged attack, they do suffer in melee with 0 melee armor. So in theory, even feudal units, just spears and horsemen, can actually do quite well to hold back these units here, even an age down. But Puppy Paw moving in now. There are 5 villagers caught in the outpost. If he goes for the torch here, but no, he goes for the mill instead. This must be diverted attention somewhere. He has to go for the mill, yeah.
There he goes. Now he finds it and goes, oh, wait a minute, not the mill. The tower, you idiots, the tower. As they start going for that instead. One of the fun things when you aim, Vills are making a break for it. One of them, they're all going to get through. Vills in the gold. Oh, wait, now Marine Lord's lost track. 1 Vill will go down. 2 go down. That was a lucky little grab for Puppy Paw. Needs to do a lot more, though, to stay in this, as the Keshik now diving in, trying to fight the Freeborn. They're going to trade pretty well into that. Picks off 1 and defends the gold. At this point, Marine Lord just needs to sit and chill. He just needs to continue cranking and eventually start adding those olive groves in, and he'll be fine.
It's true. He just needs to be careful not to take too much damage. Maybe get a couple of the safe relics if he is able. Keep securing his economy with the walls as he's doing now. This is exactly what he needs to do to tide this over. I'm a bit confused by the addition of these crossbows here, because they will in fact do virtually nothing to these freeborn. I'm not sure if Marine Lord is really like it's
maybe it's one of those things where you just have he's never seen this unit in his life, and he's like, looks like I'm at an arm, I guess. Guess I'll make some crossbows.
Yeah,
falling right into Puppy Paw's trap right here. Puppy Paw's got him right where he wants him.
It's dangerous, right? Like, this is something you have to be aware of, because these crossbows are essentially almost dead weight right now. You'd rather just have a whole bunch of Limitane and they'll trade reasonably okay against these freeborn. Of course, there's a danger of Puppy Paw potentially adding in his own archers soon, but so far it's a heavy committal to these freeborn for now.
I don't think I've ever seen these things work, so if they do, everyone's gonna be writing notes, but I don't know. Don't know about this from Puppy. I mean, it's catching Marine Lord off guard. Now he's got 6, almost 8 now in the queue, but a lot of the Keshiks and stuff on the field still. However, Freeborn finding the base, looking for Vills. Into the woodline they go. They are running for the hills. Nowhere to go, however, but their TC. Meanwhile, on the other side, most units from Marine Lord are chasing the other group that's down south. Ranging guards now coming out from Marine Lord as the Vills run away. We're seeing now the crossbows doing just nothing to the Freeborn. They looks like archers touching like a Gulam. Like, that's kind of the amount of damage they're doing. Like, just very little trickle damage. However, Keshik will do a much better job of cleaning those up. But Vill's falling. 4 Vill kills now for Puppy Paw. Needs to do a lot more, though. It's 63 to 46.
Absolutely. And, you know, with these freeborns, the issue here for Marine Lord is a bit of that mobility. Now, he does have the Keshiks to help offset that to a certain extent. But I've seen this type of strategy played before by the Canadian brothers. It was Wham in that game, however, against Demu. This was a while back, and it was the exact same thing we are seeing here today. Mass freeborn, and then into a switch for Musafadi once Varangians, Gulams, and the kind of armored frontline unit starts hitting the field. And when they're mixed up like that, you know, no, normally range units would deal with it, but not in this case. The freeborn do not care about that at all.
Yeah, I do kind of wonder what happens to Puppy Paw when the food dries up. That's going to be a concern for him. He can obviously make cows. That precipitates a need for a lot of gold.
Yeah, and that scaling factor is already starting to manifest here a little bit, right? Marine Lord already ahead by 20 villages, just over at this point in time. System level 3 as well, not too shabby at all for him. And his army is starting to look kind of scary here, right? Quite a few crossbows, a decent number of Keshiks and Varangians and Gulams as well being added now for him. This is starting to look like a very well-rounded, scary army. And soon enough, he's going to have a decent enough frontline Marine Lord to where he can kind of sit in his base and send those Keshiks raiding. And when that starts, I feel like Puppy Paw might find himself really struggling at this economic deficit.
Yeah, he's in a weird spot here. This whole strategy just seems, borrow a chess term, maybe a little unsound. But we're only saying that because we don't think it's working at the moment. I'm wondering if there's a world where it does work or how he can make this work. And the tricky thing too is that TC placement, we were kind of saying it was a little bit forward as we see a lot of Freeborn coming in from the backside here. That TC though is up front, but the wood lines are really guarding it nice and well with the units right in the middle. And here come the Freeborn, chased away by the Keshiks. Crossbows really not doing much there. It takes like multiple rounds of the crossbows to get a single one. I don't think they've killed a single Freeborn yet.
Yeah, they do
really
manage.
Tickle them.
They do get a villager for their troubles going in from that side of the base there. Yeah, the crossbows are definitely not the best choice against these Freeborns. They do have very high base damage at least, so, you know, they'll do some damage to them. I mean, you know.
It's like archer fire though, you know? It really doesn't feel like crossbow fire. Here come another group, and we've got the Musafati coming in. This could be a good pickup. The Musafati will trade pretty well into what he's got with the ranging guards.
With a big surround.
This could do something. This round. This is a good fight for Puppy, I think.
Yeah, he definitely got the surround that he needed there. Now, it's worth noting that the Ghulams are better against Musafati than most men-at-arms in the game. Thanks to that double strike, they will be able to put out a lot of damage. But this is a very overwhelming melee mass here from Puppy Paw. Marine Lord has to be very careful. However, the crossbows are trading out pretty well on the right side, aided by the Keshiks. Behind this, raids from Marine Lord as well. Some Keshiks idling out a large number of Puppy's villagers. And I think Marine Lord's fine.
Yeah, Marine Lord seems to be doing okay. Trying to get some damage here on the line. Didn't get any villagers killed, but distracting the military nonetheless. Another engagement right here. It just feels like Musafati just don't feel... They're great at the surprise attack, right? But when it comes head-to-head, like they're supposed to counter heavy units. When it comes down to the brass tacks, it doesn't ever feel like they actually can hold their own because they are just... I think their health just isn't high enough to stand and fight in a long, engaged, protracted battle. So it feels like though they can trade out okay. Something like Ranging Guards with some Ghulams, and you got the Keshiks mixed in. It's hard to find that value sometimes in the big head-on fights.
Yes, exactly. It's just it comes down to mobility and maneuvering, right? Like this army from Puppy Paw, it's very one-dimensional, but what it does very, very well, and it needs to look for that unexpected flank maneuver, that surround, that envelopment. This is the kind of strategy that Puppy Paw has to play towards, but like you mentioned, it's so difficult against Byzantines, so well fortified in their base, with such a diverse composition as well. A very strong infantry base here for Marine Lord, who tied him over in this game. Ghulams, Varangians, Metane, and crossbows, as well as some Keshiks still raiding. Double-pronged attack here from Puppy Paw, trying to find angles of damage into the base, but he gets checked at every turn here. The cistern will go down, however.
It's a small boost. I almost wish he'd have torched down the aqueduct to that cistern first, just to make it down to level 4 for the rest of them, and then torch down the 5, just so you get some immediate bonus, a little bit of damage. Towers going up, and then these mango towers are going to be problematic. They're just so oppressive when you're trying to dive a base. Puppy Paw trying to push in here. Varangians versus the units of Puppy Paw. He's got the Freeborns trying to hold the front line. A couple of Musafati as well.
Yeah, there was a massive double entry there by Puppy Paw going into the base, right? Because now Marine Lord, the tough position for him is he's running out of food at this point in time, right? You saw there,
look at those
so many of his villagers were idle at that point in time. So Puppy Paw found a little timing there, but Marine Lord's army is able to hold him through in this game. Quite a few villages are still going down, however.
Now the Freeborns are being pesky. That's a lot of olive groves planned. If Puppy can just kind of keep the noose tight and kind of just keep things wrapped up, there's a shot. Byzantines, once they get this olive grove transition put down, they're going to be in a really good spot though, and then they'll be able just to hum with the olive oil. So it does feel like the window is kind of closing again. 89 to 62, but look at the idle time. 44 villagers idled. That's got to be slowing things down for Marine Lord.
Oh, absolutely. And now Marine Lord finds himself, he knows the danger of this, right? Mangonel towers are popping up left, right, and center. He needs this AoE damage to deal with this. Either that, or Springles potentially, which doesn't seem to be something that's crossing his mind. Springles would do excellently against this kind of composition from Puppy Paw, but it's tough to
More
find
raids in the back.
way to fit them in. And yeah, another raid comes in right directly onto the groves as they're being set up. More idle time here from Reno. You can see the food income is severely stunted at this point in time.
This could win Puppy Paw the game, and military numbers are in lead for Puppy Paw. I think the army value might be in favor of Puppy as well here. The tricky thing is that the wall on the west side is still open, so Puppy Paw has a way to get on the right side. Trying to poke a hole on the left side here. He's going to get through in just a second, but there is military to meet it. Puppy Paw trying to do these like back and forth thing. He's definitely not making life easy for Marine Lord.
Definitely not. There's another tower has to go up. And again, attacks from multiple angles here. Some people are looking at going in to get the wood line on the right, but doesn't find any villages there. Most of them having by now migrated over to the left wood line. And another raid from the very back of Marine Lord's base on the right side going in, wrapping all the way around. Maybe finding villages on gold, but not quite, actually. No villages there on gold yet.
Puppy's playing to the strength of Malians really, really well here, because Malians don't like the head-on fight. Byzantines wants that big fight, right? He wants everything right in the middle, down the center, take a big fight with all the stuff in the middle. Puppy's doing exactly what Malians need to do, is he needs lots of smaller engagements all over the map. That's his... Because really, he can't stand in the middle and just stand up and fight. He needs to poke and prod and keep the army guessing. Because Marine Lord wants to keep that mass together. Because in small pockets, Puppy Paw is going to win. It's the big fight that he's looking for. So having these groups in the backfield of Marine Lord is really what's going to keep Puppy Paw in this game. As it's now 94 to 67 villagers, 17 vill kills for Puppy at this point, and more coming.
Yeah, I really must question this investment into crossbows here from Marine Lord. I feel like it's really holding him back in this game. They're just not really gonna trade as effectively as you would hope against these kind of units. Even if it was just Musafadis, sure, they do a lot of damage, but ultimately you'd much rather have a reliable front line, especially Limitane, to trade effectively here. Even archers potentially to help offset the Musafadi mass, but ideally Springles is really what Marine Lord needs in this game, because I mean, with Puppy Paw now starting to run out of food, we can see the income slowing down a little bit, and there's cows only now being started to be added, right? So he's gonna look to offset that deficit somewhat soon.
The crossbows aren't doing much, but the main mass though of the heavier units with Limitane can do quite a bit of damage as well. Marine Lord just needs to stabilize. Look at the food income now, back up to 1,200 a minute. Once he gets those olive groves back in the back, he's going to be set. And then if he can ever secure a gold vein, he's going to be good long term, it feels like, because Puppy Paw needs to find damage. 17 vills just doesn't feel like enough. Like, it's a good amount, but it doesn't feel like enough long term to win this in a late game.
With triple sight now locked in for for Puppy Paw behind this, it's going to become quite a bit more difficult for Marine Lord to come out of his base at this point in time. There's a pressure now on him, and additional gold income in for Puppy Paw. You can see the army numbers are further dwindling here for Marine Lord's Byzantines. The villager count still firmly in his lead, however, it is not increasing as exponentially as he would like. People getting pushed back here.
Yeah, he's gone into Sofa now, trying to mix up the comp. The problem is Sofa don't go great into Limitane, and the crossbows can take care of him pretty well too. Feels like Malians don't have a great answer long term again. He just needs to get more damage done, but he hasn't killed a villager in, gosh, a couple minutes. Mango towers now are really the doom. Look how much damage that shot did. Massive damage from the Mangonel towers. It ignores, obviously, the range damage upgrade and the range damage, ranged armor, excuse me, that the Freeborns has. It just ignores that. It's siege armor, or siege damage. So really, those Mango towers are kind of Marine Lord's ticket into security for the long term.
It's exactly what he needs, right? I mean, when you're dealing with 2TC like this, often you will be at an army deficit compared to your opponent. So, you know, static defenses in the form of towers and keeps and walls is what's really going to help turn the tide over. But Marine Lord behind this, the Foreign Engineering Company, now going up with 26 villages.
This could be such a frustrating playstyle to go against, right? Your opponent's been in his base. He's only been in, like, what is that, like an eighth of the whole map that he's been just kind of holed up and cornered in. That's all he needs, because once he gets those farms going, he's just set. It's a very defensive playstyle, but it's going to enable him to win the game here if he keeps going with it. With the Foreign Engineering Company coming up, Puppypaw's about to have his army completely outclassed.
And this is such a tough spot now for Puppy Paw, right? I mean, going for this fast Marimba with only just a few scouts before, and it just screams all in, doesn't it? you have to not necessarily kill your opponent, but get enough damage done to a point where you can then play your own scaling and be in an even or a head spot. And Puppy Ball just hasn't found the damage that he needed to set Marine Lord behind enough in this game, and as a result of which now he's an age behind, is forced to go in. I don't think he can win this fight.
I think the writing is kind of on the wall here. He's got a lot of military mass that's not in this fight. A lot of it's just standing right outside the base. But again, you're down eco. You've got 4 cows. I don't even think those are in pens. I think you might be just eating them at this point. Mango towers are set up. There's a massive amount of olive groves. Yeah, he's just eating the cows. Level 5 cisterns. It just feels like long term, there's just nowhere to go. And Malians don't play great at this stage of the game. Maybe once they can get into Feudal a little bit, into Imperial, they can do something. But right here, Castle against a Imperial Civ, even with better numbers, which he no longer has, it's looking rough.
It's true. Puppy Ball does have a little bit of trade behind this. We help tide him over somewhat. However, the trade route is not as good as you would like, right? The neutral market is not in the corner for that additional income. And cannon now out for Marine Lord, a Royal French cannon that is going to start working down that creep and quickly at that. Nesta B's out as well, is going to really help against this melee mass from Puppy Ball, but Puppy really kind of on his last legs here. He's pretty committed here, but his army, it just doesn't have the numbers as he makes a last desperate push forward to try to clean up some of this mass. But with the Wagonauta behind this, the crossbows...
Like the wheels have fallen off. Yeah, he's going to have to be forced to go back. I expect GG will be called. Yep, there it is. And game 1 goes to Marine Lord. What was an interesting build from Puppy Paw ended up just not working out as the Byzantines hurtling up, aging up, doing what they do best. End up flooding out in Imperial Age for the win. And game 1 again goes to Marine Lord.
Nice little attempt there by Puppy Boy in that first game. What an unusual strategy we have. We definitely don't see that very often. Very few players in the scene opt for Freeborn from the Farimba garrison, right? Only a few names come to mind.
And like, some things went well. Like Puppy ended up with all the relics. So that was kind of a nice thing. He had the sacred sites. It just felt like he just didn't get any damage done. Like 17 Vil kills is nice, but he really needed a lot more damage to make that worth it. I felt like the fast castle timing didn't really get him much. Considering that Marine Lord just got us the second town center and then matched the castle timing. Like, yeah, he was on the back foot and had to be defend. That's just what Byzantines wants to do. So
exactly.
Interesting build. I bet it could work against maybe a less experienced player. I mean, we saw like crossbows was not the answer for Marine Lord there. So you can maybe bait a lower level player to fall for this one pretty easily. And I bet it could work on the ladder, but unfortunately for Puppy Paw, it's not going to work against Marine Lord, even if he did go for some crossbows. But he'll try again on our upcoming match, game number 2, Delhi versus Japanese on Sacred Grove.
Yeah.
In just 2 minutes from this.
Very excited to see this matchup. I think this matchup has a lot of potential to be very entertaining to watch. Typically, Delhi, of course, they have really cemented their playstyle by now. They are a feudal massive that is able to blow up so many units so quickly thanks to those free technologies. The scholars further boost their military prowess, not only with the healing, but the expediting the research speed of those techs as well. However, Japanese, no slouch in the feudal age either nowadays, especially with the cheaper Yumi and the Bannerman system, of course, which has gotten plenty of buffs since the last time this matchup arose too often. In the past, there was a lot of fast castles for Japanese to try to cope in this matchup. Their feudal age not really holding a candle to Delhi's, especially in the Tower of Victory days. However, things have changed a lot since then.
Yes, indeed. Should be a fun one. The players are getting ready to get in match now. They were waiting, I believe, for us to catch back up to them. We've given our technical difficulties earlier. So they'll be in game shortly, and we'll be able to get back to a live match. Excited to see. And yeah, Puppy Paw looking for an answer. I think he'd be at this point, he's just looking to win a game. You know, I think in the long term, you've been losing to Marine Lord a lot this year. Probably doesn't feel good. I'm sure Puppy Paw's just probably tired of playing Marine Lord and just looking for that win. I wonder if you could just get a win off of him now. Just take a game and reset and see how that feels. Sometimes that could do wonders for your confidence, right? I gotta imagine He's probably not feeling great about this matchup just in general, about as far as player to player. But don't underestimate how much a one win can really affect the psyche moving into this next game. And I'm sure Puppy Paw, with his Japanese, will be looking to do that here very shortly.
Oh, Puppy Paw desperately needs a win, and he I guarantee he definitely wants to. He has ambitions of winning this series. It's necessary. There's a bit of a rivalry between these two players at this point, right? Friendly rivalry, of course. But Puppy Paw definitely wants to look to make his mark here, even if he can't win the series. It's way too early to call, of course. But he's not going to be happy with anything less than at least several wins, I would assume, because at this level, competitive spirit really runs high. It has to be able to play at this level. So you really want to bring your A game forward and have something to prove, so to say, which he's going to look to do in this second game as we load into Sacred Grove. Puppy Paw in the Japanese in the color red, spawning on the south side of the map, facing what is quickly becoming his nemesis here in the form of Gentlemate's Marine Lord in the color blue in the north side of the map as the Delhi Sultan.
Excited to see what Puppy Paw has up his sleeves with Japanese. I can just almost feel the tension behind this. I can just feel he really wants a win right now. Just the competitive spirit in him. I can just sense that he just is ready to take a game from Marine Lord already. Will he be able to do it here? We'll find out as scouts are underway. A pretty good number of sheep already from Marine Lord all the way in his opponent's corner. Meanwhile, right away, we see an upgrade coming in for Puppy Paw. He's going for survival techniques. Right onto the deer. It's a fun play. And with a Dark Age barracks coming out, he's going to do the pro spear strat, I think. And no, he's moving right over. Or is he?
Oh, interesting little start.
Is this the pro spears?
Yeah, this is interesting pro spears here. Yeah, look at that, right? Trying to get Marine Lord's deer away, shoved towards closer to his mill. This could be very interesting. I do wonder what the overall plan is here for Puppy Paw. Is this a play to extend his food's lifespan into a swift and decisive castle timing? Or is he trying to secure as much food for himself as possible to play an overwhelming feudal age instead? There's something we have to see, but now a full
scout's going to find out. Can the scouts get him? Can the spears get the scout?
Oh,
maybe there's a lot of deer, there's a lot of sheep there. He can't stick around this. You have to be very careful. Marine Lord trying to push away. A lot of sheep to be had if he doesn't do this successfully. Puppy Paw flexing the micro just a little bit here as he pro spears the deer further and further to his base.
And by now, most of the sheep are gathered on the map, right? And there's a good spear investment here from Puppy Paw. 3 spears. He did end up cancelling the 4th one in queue, but these 2 spears will chase the scout, and Marine Lord has to be really careful. Like
that's a lot of sheep to be had.
A lot of sheep. Like a single misstep here can cause the game. If that scout dies, this game is lost without a doubt in my mind.
I think he realizes that he's gonna back off and maybe loop around instead. Good play by Puppy Paw here. Pretty fun stuff. I'm definitely gonna keep using this phrase. I like the pro spears play. I've seen this. This is twice or thrice we've seen this today. Just in 2 series alone. Fun aspect. And spears do push a lot more effectively than scouts do. So with a couple of them out in the field, you can move them pretty far. I mean, already they're a good chunk of the way there. They got a long way to go still to get to that house right there is where he's trying to push them.
Yeah, and this spear play is starting to gain a lot of traction, right? Especially for Japanese.
Pretty good.
And it's very effective. I mean, for the price of a barracks and 3 spears, you're able to secure yourself an overwhelming amount of food, way cheaper than pro scouts, way faster as well. And you actually have some capable military units on the field as well. Especially against something like a Night Civ. Having those spearmen out early can often secure yourself a nicely timed castle age once you do have those deer in. Now, the age-up timings here are quite radically different, however, right? Like Marine Lord going up with the Dome of the Faith, almost finished now, whereas Puppy Paw only now going with the Kura Storehouse, and judging by the only 3 on age-up, this might be a straight castle age play, maybe.
I mean, with the deer, with the faster food income, it's kind of fun to see, because he doesn't want to deal with Delhi and Feudal. Maybe he just wants to get straight to the mounted samurai. You see a little engagement. Man, that scout still hasn't dropped off the sheep. Marine Lord's playing with fire here. I think he might have sniped another deer. Didn't quite get to take a look at it, but that's 1,000 something food right there. You don't want to drop that if you're not careful. You know, those deer are almost where they need to be. And 9 times, what is it, 200 a sheep?
Yeah, I think you're right.
1,800 food? Yeah, 1,800 food. Yeah, that's almost a boar right there that's just following your scout. You don't want to lose.
I think with the archery range here for Marine Lord, actually, instead of what you'd expect as the guards, I mean, it makes sense with 3 spears on the field already, but the problem is, like, there's already a tower being built on those forward deer there, so are archers really going to be able to push Puppy Paw for this? There's just so much food under here, Socrates.
There's a lot. Now he's killing the deer. They have finished their trek, and he's going to claim them right there. That's a lot of food. And that's 2,100 food, I think, per deer pack. So, I mean, that's basically like a free boar you just pushed in towards your base under that tower that you're denying from your opponent. So the pro spear play, we'll see how this pans out. I'm pretty excited to see it again, though. It's kind of fun. You don't see it every day. After the pro scout meta, you know, who would have thought we'd have spears doing it instead? Only a season or 2 later. Archers on the field now, though, rushing over, trying to see if they can snipe some of those vills and some of those spears. They're going to walk right into them. Spears going, whoa, 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 never mind. We want to head back home.
But people are looking to maybe catch a Ghazi or 2 here off guard with a spearman front lining there to catch them as they go forward, but instead runs headlong into some archers here. Marine Lord's going to pick off one of the spears for sure, and I think that's probably it for now. And I'm surprised Puppypaw doesn't have more villagers out on that day. However, judging by the double broadaxe and the arrow slit, I think this is, and now stable follow-up as well for Puppypaw. This is going to be a Feudal Age play, and I'm very excited to see it.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot on gold at all, so he's going to be playing for some Feudal Age, going to deny the Sacred Sites if he can. But so far, he's earned himself, you know, a nice little advantage here. Lots of techs coming in for Marine Lord, as you would expect from Delhi at this point in the game. 2 on gold, standard stuff.
I do wonder if Marine Lord did spot out that
There's our extra sheep for Puppypaw there.
That stable. That could be very, very significant detail here. I'm not sure if he... Yeah, it doesn't look like he did, but it's always difficult to tell with the fog of war toggling in observing. Sadly, it is not quite consistent. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Still Ghazis and archers in queue for now for him, but this spearman horseman play from Puppypaw could pay huge dividends if it catches Marine Lord off guard once it comes to capturing the sacred sites. Only a few seconds
wood
out
coming
now.
in. And look, we might be getting some samurai on the field. It looks like Puppypaw moving into some... I was just going to say something about that. I wonder if he's going to go maybe for some samurai into this comp. Looks like that is in the works. He is at least going to get the upgrade, so he has that ready to go if needs be. Scholars moving out to the sacred site right now in the center.
Out of fighting will start the force as Marine Lord with 2 scholars there, and 2 scholars on one side, right? You might think this is a mistake for some people, but this is in fact, I'm sure, fully intentional. Marine Lord smells that something's wrong. He knows that there's going to be units here, so he needs as much healing as he can possibly get. 1 Ghazi here to secure the cap on this sacred site from Marine Lord, but a spear will stop that in turn. And looks like big fight about to happen in the center, most likely. The mass definitely
No sites have gone up yet. So a little bit of delay. He's going to deny the 1. This one's going to go up, however. And even with Delhi with 1 sacred site, obviously they'd like to have, I think at a minimum, they really want 2. But taking 1 at the very least is going to be better than none. Marine Lord obviously wants just any kind of gold trickle he can get outside the 2 vills. I'm sure he'll make a play probably for that north one again here in a second. I see some units on the minimap going towards there right now.
Yeah, he's definitely going to secure that northern one first. It's nicely situated towards his side of the map, so you can see the secret side, the way they spawn. 1 favors 1 player, the other one favors the other one, and then there's the center neutral one.
Caught out a little bit. Can Puppypaw get this guy down? He really wants to take him down if he can. A lot of Ghazis coming in to defend, though. I don't think Puppy's going to be able to get there. He's got to get out of dodge now or lose those horsemen. Drops 1, but gets the other 2 away. Yeah, those Ghazis are a problem. There's not a great answer to the Ghazis.
There's a bit of an overcommitment there from Puppypaw, right? Just the lack of his first melee damage upgrade here for Puppypaw, or his second one for that matter, I think is really going to hurt him soon enough, especially against the Ghazis. No Bannerman on the field yet either for him. I don't think he even has the Daimyo mana yet. Yeah, I don't think so. And And if he wants to play Feudal, these are things he needs quite desperately. Otherwise, I don't think he's going to be able to win long term against the Delhi.
Akazaiku coming in right now. That'll help a little bit. He's going to need every little bonus he can get for his units. There's the ranged armor upgrade coming in as well. Iron Undermesh. A lot of Ghazis. The numbers are pretty close. 28 to 24.
The Horseman number is building quite rapidly now for Puppy Paw. And with Akazaiku in now for him, as long as he gets the other one and the Daimyo mana to get out an Uma Bannerman, these horsemen will definitely win convincingly against the Ghazi Raiders if it comes to a fight. But getting to that stage is not so easy, as Marine Lord further building his numbers, now adding in spears as well, and this could be
the
turning point he needs.
Just the one horse trying to hide the rest of the numbers. However, they do get spotted by a Ghazi Raider of Marine Lord. Those villagers are still on that deer, but not for long as the Ghazi Raiders come in, taking that tower out. It does have arrow slits on it, but that's not going to matter here with how many Ghazi are on the field.
This is exactly what Puppy Paw has been dreading, I think, throughout this game. Losing that forward position could potentially cost him severely here in this game. He does find the berries, though. Yeah. Not quite
they
able
get the tower
to get
just
any.
in time.
Yeah,
He could torch that down if he so desired. In fact, he will decide to try and do that. There's in a couple of horsemen, though. This is just one of those things with Japanese playing a long, extended feudal against Delhi. It makes me kind of just wonder. We do see Onobugeisha coming out on the field now. I'm not too sure what I think of that choice. There are archers on the map for Marine Lord.
It is samurai, I think.
The Ghazis. There are a lot of Ghazis. Oh, those samurai?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes more sense.
They do look pretty similar. They only have a little extra ponytail,
one
right?
way, one's flipped the other way, but you're right. That's samurai. It's the small little token sometimes.
Yeah, it's completely fine.
I was gonna say that does make a lot of sense. That makes more sense a little bit. Although the plus heavy damage for the Ghazis doesn't feel great with samurai, but the deflection armor exists.
Yeah, I mean, our people did manage to actually torch down that tower and kill those 5 villagers that were inside, whereas Marine Lord was looking to get his own counter damage on the other side, but only managed to find the one villager and deny some gold mining here for Puppy Paw. Army lead still in favor here for Marine Lord. Courtesy of those scholars, but without the scholars, I feel like the mass definitely favors Puppy Paw. Yeah, especially
it does, but he did just torch down the stable back at home for Puppy Paw. He doesn't have a stable anymore. So I don't know if he will be able to make any more horsemen.
Oh, this is a massive catch. Massive catch here by Puppy Paw.
Archers falling like flies as the horsemen wrap around. The scholars they're trying to help, but all they can do is put band-aids onto gaping open wounds. And what a cleanup for Puppy Paw. Now all that's left is Ghazis, spears, and horsemen. Puppy Paw doesn't want to stick around too long, though. Spears are going to be left behind to do what damage they can. Actually, those are, a spear and a samurai. Pretty good pickup, but is it enough? Now, Puppy Paw is ahead with villagers. He is up 5-1 on builds killed.
I think as long as Marine Lord doesn't get too much control of the sacred size, Puppy Paw doesn't mind this position at all. Like, an extended feudal age is not something he really minds as a Japanese here, as long as there's nothing propelling the Delhi forward in the form of those sacred sites or too much additional there. That scholar gets surrounded immediately.
Another good pickup if it could survive. Oh, barely with a little inch of health. Puppy Paw get there? No. Scholar gets away. That was close. But still can't get on that sacred site. Yeah, Puppy Paw has done a good job of denying the sacreds from Marine Lord. Not made it easy. And we see here again, another couple units going down. We do have professional scouts now in from Marine Lord. It's been long enough that that's been brought up. So he's trying to get his deer pack. However, horsemen around could probably stop that a little bit. We see he drops the carcass there and chases the villagers away from the berries. Spears come in. Puppy Paw thinks twice, decides to go ahead and take the engagement because there's only 2 of them. Then sees the horsemen, the Ghazi coming back in. He's going to have to pull back. But some idle time caused. Puppy just trying to nickel and dime Marine Lord a little bit and see if he can get enough of advantage to convert.
No, notably behind this, Puppy Paw is massing up a large number of samurai as well, right? So, and he's hiding these as well. He's looking for
maybe a castle play too. He's getting some samurai up, and he's like kind of in that in-between zone where he could either reinvest right now, or he could go up to castle. I think it's hard to tell. He's got a lot of gold coming in, so I think he is going to try and make his way. Now he's spending all the food now, so maybe he's just going to mass into samurai.
It's tough because the macro needed for samurai, obviously they cost food and gold. So, it will kind of look like he's going for an age up, but then he might just be matching Samurai. It's tough to call because of that, right? However, look, another raid found on the berries here for People. Doesn't quite manage to get a Vil. Quick on the reactions Marine Lord is as he cuts off these horsemen. And now the day are coming in for Marine Lord, something he desperately needs at this point in time. As you can see, the food starvation is becoming a problem for him, whereas People has the Kura storehouse to fall back on.
And that's the brilliant thing about the Kura storehouse, is that he's gonna get the free farm transition behind this, and with the manor upgrade, he's getting even more out of those farms than most would. So Puppypaw feeling pretty good. Gold is his biggest concern, is can he maintain gold, and if he can ever get onto those deer up front and avoid letting those get picked up, that'd be good for him as well. But all things considered, it's pretty dead even. A little bit more of an eco lead for Puppypaw, a little bit more of a military lead for Marine Lord. Then again, at the same time, if you look at the army value, it's close, you know, it's close, and the destroyed value is ever so slightly in Puppypaw's favor. He does have quite a big mass, both players back and forth. Top sacred side almost got taken, but I think Puppypaw sees what's coming down the middle, sending those units back home. And now the center deer being taken, he sends those two back in.
Oh, losing this day is going to be really painful for Puppypaw. I'm surprised he didn't drop another tower maybe to re-secure this front side, but his economy was struggling behind this. Now, notably, Floating Gate on the way, now halfway finished for Puppypaw, and he has a tremendous amount of samurai behind this in order to contest Marine Lord if he looks to make a push or even maybe finish him off entirely. But Marine Lord, now with double sight locked in and a good amount of food in the bank, he's not too far off an age up himself.
The timing is going to be very crucial for Puppypaw here. Samurai are going to be able to dive the base a lot better than Freeborns would have. So if he can plan this right, I like that he's got the horseman for the speed as well. There's something to this. It's hard to see what's going to happen. Marine Lord still, gold is the hardest thing for Marine Lord. He doesn't have a lot. The sacred sites haven't been enough for him yet, and he's not mining any gold that I can see at the moment either. So he needs to make a cognizant choice to either mine gold or stay in feudal. But if he stays, I mean, Marine Lord now getting that age 3 veteran upgrade for samurai. We see one falling right here. But with horsemen and samurai, and some spears, this is a pretty good comp from Puppypaw. I like his odds to take a good fight here.
It's a very good composition.
His units in one spot though. Where are the samurai at? I think they're down south.
Yeah,
I think he's waiting on the deer line down there.
They are down south to block the capture on the sacred site, and Puppypaw has been so good at this throughout the game. He has been decapping the south, the sites in the north and in the south, keeping Marine Lord's gold income low, and that's exactly what he needs in order for this timing to work. Marine Lord, however, the economy is not far behind his own castle age, and these Ghazi raids are going to make it so difficult for Puppypaw. But Puppypaw's horsemen get clinched.
Yeah, not good at all. Ghazi's winning against him. Puppypaw needs all of his military in one spot to take a fight, because those men-at-arms, the samurai can hold, but he needs his horsemen and spears with them. But now the House of Learning coming up, the samurai need to make a decisive blow very quickly, but they're slow, and so getting there is going to take some time. Meanwhile, the Ghazi's just running rampant on the earth.
House of Learning is firmly on the way here for Marine Lord. Curious to see what units we're going to next. There's pretty much just pure samurai here from Puppypaw, and we do see, I think, a large group of them starting to march in towards Puppypaw's, towards Marine Lord's base from the south side.
This could be huge. It's not a huge number. I get a little worried what happens if that whole mass of Ghazi get home in time. All the sacred sites now finally in for Marine Lord. Samurai looking for something to hit, but I'm just kind of worried. A lot of the deer just came in for Marine Lord. He's been snaking them across the map. He's gonna have a lot of food at home. Ghazi's chasing after some samurai, looking for something to do in the base. Mounted samurai on the field as well. Those will take pretty good fights against Ghazis.
They definitely will.
It feels like not enough. It feels like Puppypaw's army just isn't where it needs to be.
Most of the mass is in here, right? Like, yeah, you have to be very careful with extending your army too far forward here as Puppypaw, because there are sacred sites locked in. There are Ghazi raids happening. Like, if you move across the entire map with the samurai and there's 20 Ghazis in your wood line, suddenly, was that really worth it?
Here it is.
But yeah, here they come. Now the samurai as well.
They've kept him busy in his own base, and now they dive in. Can they manage the choke points and take a win? Lancers are going to do a pretty good job here, and an elephant is on the field for the first time today. Marine Lord trying to send that thing right over to the samurai if he can get it. That's going to be a tough thing to take down. Do we have a chance for a Wolo coming in, perhaps? There it is. Puppypaw fighting under it, backs off.
Oh no!
He's gonna get the samurai.
Oh no!
He gets a mounted samurai in the corner, so a successful Wolo technically. And that's got to feel pretty good if you're a Marine Lord. You'll take one every day.
Yeah, definitely.
So the elephant alone is going to be a tough thing to deal with because they're just so tanky. Mounted Samurai need to get on there as best they can. Archers aren't going to do a lot, however. That's a good archer mass, but with the scholars there, Elephant's going to heal right back up. Puppy Paw needs to find a decisive fight and to sweep those archers off and be mindful of the crossbows that are coming right behind.
The elephant is definitely going to be a massive thorn in Puppy Paw's side now, right? There's just not a unit that you can really deal with the current units that you're producing. You could add on a Musha maybe to start dealing severe damage to that War Elephant, but the issue is there's already so many archers behind this. It's very easy for Marine Lord to then reinvest into Ghazis as well. Although food is now becoming a big problem for Marine Lord. And
I think even the deer have run out. Yeah,
they have run out.
Quick farm transition. This is the thing. Puppy Paw has already got his farm transition essentially. And he got it mostly for free. So this is where he's going to get a bit of an edge. And he still is on outside food sources like the boar. That elephant though is just such a problem. Whatever it is, Puppy Paw needs to not be, because that thing it just not only is it really tanky and hard to deal with, but while you're focusing on it, all the other units that are there aren't getting attacked and are hitting you. So this crossbow mask gets scarier and scarier by the minute.
It's true. However, Puppy Paw now, with the Kurostoas behind this Unicum is secured, right? So theoretically, if he's able to pin Marine Lord in his base now, force him into this one-dimensional, very static composition that can't really raid, can't
the elephant's been caught.
Secure resources.
He's got the elephant.
It's caught. He's gonna
say goodbye to Dumbo and eat some peanuts. It's gone. That thing goes down. A misplay from Marine Lord leaves it hanging. And Puppy will take it all day. He'll, yes, please, let me give just the elephant. Because in a one-on-one, the elephant's not going to do much. It's the support that it gives to let other units attack that makes it so difficult. And he gets a nice surround there. That is, I mean, it's so understated because it's so many resources. And when you heal it up, it's just like the most impossible sink to get rid of. But for Puppy Paw to clear that out, that almost changes the game a little bit because it opens up the base again.
I honestly think that might have potentially won Puppy Paw the game here. You can see the mass. There's just no reliable frontline here for Marine Lord. Only 6 Lancers and he can't afford anything else. The food, Sokotan, it's so bad right now for Marine Lord. He has nothing left besides trying to convert all his wood into food. And
it's not safe if he does. He can't even do it. There's no real estate. I mean, the wings are so open. There's no wood line to protect him. There's nothing to wall in. At this point, Puppy Paw is in a really good position. I mean, that I think you might be right. That elephant being off the field is like a sigh of relief for Puppy Paw, because that thing was just such a difficult, or like you said, a thorn in his side. He could not deal with it. And now it's a matter of, well, all there is Lancers and crossbows. And that becomes a much more easy fight to take. You can understand how to counter that, how to maneuver around that. Scholars don't get as much value anymore.
Puppy Paw does have to be very careful here, though, right? He needs to really watch out how he focuses his attacks here, because he's able to close out this game if he does so effectively. But yeah, this is what I mean. These kind of fights, I'm not sure are good for him. Yeah, you don't want to spread yourself too thin. I think in a direct fight, you just win outright. I'm not sure if this is a case of over raiding here for Puppy Paw, maybe. Although there's villagers caught on the stone.
Right there on the stone, though. 10 villager kills to 1, not a huge deficit. But the idle time's creeping up there. 32 going idle for Marine Lord. And again, the food, 800 a minute, but he's got nothing in the bank right now. Meanwhile, it's 45 to 31 military units. So Puppy Paw has the more expensive military. But yeah, they're kind of not. He needs to group them up together. Meanwhile, a second town center for Puppy. Maybe that's why his military feels a little underwhelming, is he's going for some eco behind this. It's an interesting choice. I'm thinking about it right now if I like it or not, because here comes a keep, and this is the kind of thing that Marine Lord really needs. He needs his farm transition up and running, and he needs to be safe.
Yeah, completely. This keep is a desperate necessity for Marine Lord right now, and it's going to buy him plenty of time here. And Puppy Paw, he has a 2TC up and scaling behind this. He has good eco-techs as well. Double Broadaxe 2 already in, as well as the max Japanese wheelbarrow. I'm not sure what the last one is called. However, the problem is, I feel like he had a timing there maybe to just outright kill Marine Lord. But maybe a case of over-raiding, splitting his forces too thin, just like you mentioned. Another raid here, finding more villages on the farms though. He's going to pick up a couple of them. Just one for now.
Just one, but the idle time's nice either way.
Yeah.
I mean, there still is kind of a food deficit, 1,200 to 700 now. Marine Lord will be getting some food, but the nice thing is, as long as Puppy Paw can keep the elephants off the field, and keep the military numbers a little more even, eventually I think he will get enough economically to kind of take care of things. The tricky thing is, though, is if Marine Lord can really get food going, and if that's no longer a concern, as the keep takes out 2 mounted samurai, that's a big pickup there for Marine Lord. That hurts. If Marine Lord can just keep the food and gold coming, he can maybe make some heavy units. The tricky thing now, though, becomes that back wood line is pretty much gone. And where is he going to go next?
Yeah, exactly right. This is where additional keeps are going to be needed from Marine Lord. He has enough stone in the bank for another one, and yeah, he's going to use it to secure. That's a good spot.
That's exactly where that needs to be.
Secures the gold and the starting edge of that wood line here for Marine Lord, and this is big for him, right? I find the choice of Yumi here from Puppy Paw a little bit curious, personally. He's going to do very well against the crossbowmen, however, diving with them is somewhat difficult.
Well, there's not many. Well, I don't hate it, given that all that Marine Lord has is crossbows and archers and a couple of lancers, and a couple of Ghazi. I don't hate. It's not the worst choice in the world, I feel like, but yeah, it is. They aren't the best. We also have 8 minutes on the Sacred Victory coming in. That's not long enough to be a huge concern just yet, but wonder if that'll come into play later. We'll see if Marine Lord sends some units to try and decap at some point. One for the Scholars. I like this play. Stopping the research would be really helpful for Puppy Paw to buy some more time. Force a fight if you can. Archers looking to take a good fight, and this is what Puppy needed, to get everything in one spot. And now he can dive the base. I think this is a good choice. The multiple Wololos going on.
That's a big Wololo. He has to back out of there.
Back up, back up, back up. He loses a samurai again. But that's the one time that Marine Lord's going to be able to do that now, as now the base is open. But he got a lot of time bought there to take some good shots at the crossbows. Good defense.
There's a very significant...
Now they're taking the relics and going away from it again.
Yeah, there's a significant backline here from Marine Lord that's doing a great job on this defense. I mean, so many of the mounted samurai from Puppy Paw have died. However, this is a war of attrition.
Are dwindling quickly now.
They are. This is a war of attrition that really favors him at this point in time. The Scholars at this point frontlining, right, to try to sustain.
That feels bad. That feels pretty bad. Scholars dropping down. But he does live to continue fighting on. I think Puppy's okay with the remass, though, here, because it forces Marine Lord to reinvest in everything he can, and he doesn't have the resources to, again, build anymore. As long as the elephants are off the field, I think Puppy Paw can kind of keep this leverage moving. However, there's a lot of gold coming in now for Marine Lord. I kind of wish Puppy would think about those keeps and how he can maybe estrange those villagers and get them caught out. Maybe find a way to knock those things down. Maybe even get a Mangonel to take out the back line, because that's been something he's been having a hard time with. He does have trebuchets on the field. Ooh, can he keep him alive, though?
Yeah, the tough part with having siege in this position, right, is it's difficult because you lose so much mobility if you do opt for something like a Mangonel, which against, sure, it can do very well with the crossbows, but the Yumi will do a good job as well. And speaking of, they do focus now onto the backhand of crossbows as the mounted samurai go up against the Ghazis. The mass here, however, really favors Marine Lord and Puppy Paw. I think he's diving too deep. All the Yumi are going to die.
I think those are caught out. Those are gone. Yumi just aren't strong enough without a bannerman to handle this alone at all. Ghazi's cleaning them up easily. And Puppy's back to the drawing board to try something new again. That keeps getting kind of low. And in fact, a lot of villagers working on repairing it. Ghazi's going for the push. Get pushed back. This is a nice little spot to have some towers up with the fortified towers there. Good little spot to fall back to. That's actually really critical here for Puppy Paw, to have somewhere he can mass back up again that's close to Marine Lord's base. Almost like to see some forward production a little bit. That keeps going to go down.
Yeah, I mean,
farms transition fully in place now for Marine Lord.
Yeah, for Puppy Paw buying this as well, we can see the nice grid there, the Shogunate. Oh, not quite Shogunate yet, but the Daimyo, Daimyo Mana? No, it's not Daimyo Mana. What's the second level called? I forget.
Daimyo Palace? I'm not
sure.
Oh,
you're right. Yeah,
I got it right. Daimyo Palace, next would be Shogunate Castle. All right.
Nice. We got it. We got it. Easy peasy.
Between the two of us, we're like one really competent caster. Stonewall's coming up for Puppy Paw now. It's securing the wall and stuff. That Sacred Site stays up for Puppy. And this mass is now looking pretty scary. Look at the difference in eco. 108 to 76. That second town center of Puppy's taking a little bit of time to pay off, but I think we're starting to see the effects.
Oh, 100%. The food income itself.
Oh my word.
Yeah,
for Puppy Paw, he's getting so much food a second.
It's massive, right? I mean, on top of it, the villages from Puppy Paw under that Daimyo Palace are so much better. The boosted farm income is just massive for him. And 3 sacred sites have been locked in for close to 6 minutes now. That's on top of it, that's so much gold income. Massive Ghazi count here, however, for Marine Lord. He's going to look for a full wrap
Big
around
mango
the
shot
Yumi.
hits,
Finds
though.
the siege.
Ghazi's now wrapping around the Treb. They're going to get one. Trying to find a couple vills, a couple things. Not a lot of front line for Puppy. That's kind of the thing he's missing. He's got some samurai somewhere, but I just don't see them. Oh, they're up front. They're up front a little bit there. Man, you would wonder how far a couple spears would go. But regardless, the writing is on the wall. Those Trebs are hitting the main TC. Puppy Paw takes a game.
Puppy
I
Paw.
think the eco just won it for him there in the end, you know? That keep went down off the gold in the wood, and once that's expunged, nowhere else to go.
It's a build-up of lots of small things, this game, I would say, right? That, like, I think what Puppy Paw in Feudal Age especially has done so well is keeping control, well, denying control over those sacred sites. That is so significant for him, right? Because theoretically, the longer Feudal Age goes, the better it is for the Japanese in this position, because the Kurostoas is going to really help out their farm transitions and, you know, the extra quality of life they have from the forge as well as the farmhouse. Obviously, Delhi has their free techs as well, but those are, once you have all of them in Feudal Age, then the scholars lose a lot of value outside of being, you know, a healer unit. So Puppy Paw showing here today.
That Marine Lord is trying to break in. Marine Lord is trying to break it in and turn the tides. Felt like Puppy Paw came dangerously close a couple times to letting it get away from him. Maybe it might not have looked pretty, but I think he did enough, you know, got enough eco. I think that second town center really did help in the end for him to keep that eco churning. But my biggest takeaway from this is that, yeah, right there, Pro Spears. Pro Spears is the new strat, new meta that's on the scene. Buy your stocks now while they're low, because they're gonna go to the moon here in a bit. But we've got a tied series, 1-1 apiece, as we will not be seeing the minimum 4 games. We're gonna have at least 5 games today, depending on how this goes, or more. Next matchup is going to be on Gorge, and a classic one at that. Chinese versus French. This should be a lot of fun.
Yep. Completely. And you can see here these skirmishes here in initially Puppy Paw, right? Like, Marino did a great job here of using his Ghazis to distract Puppy Paw, as we see another raid there at the back, and keeping that mass of samurai away from his base, because they are very slow at the end of the day. Very threatening, but very slow. So,
yeah, that was it. Felt like for a while there, Puppy was just spread too thin. He needed to take a really good fight. This Wolo, pretty dangerous stuff right there. He does get the one samurai. I think that runs right into the last second.
Oh yeah, that's another one there. Yeah,
a total of 2 samurai converted to the cause of Delhi by Marine Lord. Not quite as exciting as, you know, the full army take that you sometimes can see. But fun stuff nonetheless. Yeah, I think it just came to the fact that there's just no wood behind this. He had gold, and then the keep went down. Just it's tough to hold on, as Japanese kind of, you know, every civ has like their peaks in power, right? Where they're really good, where they're not so good. And it felt like Japanese was finally becoming fully realized here in a later game, which gets very difficult to contest, especially when it gets to late castle, Imperial Age. Japanese just looks really scary with that farm bonus that they get.
100%. Japanese is no slouch once they are fully set up, and especially with such great map control, it's not a position that Japanese really struggles to play from, right? Sacred sites, 2 relics under his belt as well, and just the full farm transition under that Daimyo Palace, like you said, providing an immense amount of food income behind it, and very good passive gold income for him as well. But we do have getting ready for our game number 3 here, between Puppy Paw and Marine Lord. And yeah, it's going to be Chinese against French on Gorge, and this is a bit of a historical matchup by now, right? This is we have seen this a lot in the Proscast meta especially, and can be very entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, the aggression that you get with the French Knights, Puppy Paw's MO of late, I feel like has been a bit more up-tempo and aggressive as opposed to just pure booming. Whereas Marine Lord, I mean, I think he's happy to do the Chinese eco thing. I would definitely expect Pro Scouts to be on the agenda again. Maybe we'll get Pro Spears again. I don't know. I've been kind of enjoying seeing the Spears do it the hard way. So you never know. Maybe not on this map, however. I'd be very shocked to see a French Dark Age Spears here. But we got 6 seconds to get into game. Game number 3, Marine Lord and Puppy Paw. Puppy Paw, the first win against Marine Lord in some time. That's got to feel good. Will it be enough to propel him to a victory, or will Marine Lord shut things down as we go on? It's game number 3 in the blue, Marine Lord as Chinese here in the southwest, and in the north, in red, Puppet Paw as the French.
Very classic entertaining match here on our hands as Puppy Paw takes his French up against the Marine Lord's Chinese on Gorge. Very open map here, EGC Gorge. The backwood line similar to Sacred Grove as we have just seen, but there's some notable differences here, right? Namely, the deer spawning always in a very retracted flank position, which means that they'll always be very, very safe for either player. The balls are typically close to the corners as well. You can see Marine Lord towards the left-hand corner, Puppy Paw slightly more forward, but towards the right. And it does appear like... Yeah, no, I was just checking. So it seems like, in fact, all of Puppy Paw's gold... Oh, no. I was about to say, all of his gold is towards the north, but there is one far away gold mine in that south side of his base there. So it's not like he'll be forced to be just on one side. And yeah, Observer Vodka beautifully showing
pretty even spawn. We're really grateful for those who work on these maps for EGC TV. Shouting out to people like Kaivaru and whatnot for working them very hard to get these maps at a tournament standard for us to watch as we dive in here. So yeah, looks like gold on both sides for both players. Sacred sites as they normally are. Have you ever gotten the bug where the wood line doesn't connect to the back?
Oh yeah, that's so weird. That ends up being just a tiny
that is a bug.
Yeah.
I've had it happen, I think, twice to me now, and I'm always shocked when it does.
That is a
The possibility for that happening. Cow is the whispering is that the trees cannot spawn on a slope apparently, like that, and so I guess there's some kind of weirdness to it. So
who would have known, right? Luckily, it's only an issue on the ladder version of Gorge, so that we have EGC Gorge.
It's been fixed for this version.
It would be pretty funny if it happened.
It's an interesting thing. It's part of the reason why we have an EGC map specifically remade for this, is to avoid things like that, as we have a much more fair spawn. Because that would be were it to have that middle tiny wood line, that they'd have to restart the game. But thankfully, not the case here, as we are underway. Puppy Paw scattering some deer there. I don't know if that's intentional. I think he's just scouting for sheep. And School of Cav. Big surprise.
We're lucky to see a pretty standard early game here from either side.
Yeah.
Puppy, in this case as the French, not opting for that Dark Age wheelbarrow that we see quite a few players opt for, namely from the CIS community, notably. I think they were the ones who first came up with it, if I'm not mistaken. But we do have Imperial Academy on the way here for Marine Lord. And School of Cav on the other side, everything pretty standard here. The question is whether Marine Lord will opt to open directly for the Pro Scouts as opposed to Barracks first, or whether it will be for that Barracks first. But because you could theoretically get away here with delaying your Barracks because the deer are in such a good position. However, Marine Lord, being a very safe, calculated player that he is, probably still spares, right?
I'd imagine so. But you never know. Kind of waiting to see if he's going to move over to wood really quickly. It doesn't seem like it. He might give it some time. Puppy Paw, of course, scouting out right on that side, sitting on that deer pack, kind of waiting to see what Marine Lord's going to do. He's pushing the deer up the hill. Oh, man. Puppy Paw really does love just pushing stuff around, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's moving the deer as best he can, trying to push him away from Marine Lord.
Yeah, I mean,
goodness.
If there's any players that would be doing this, it would be someone like Puppy Paw or Wham, right? For those who aren't aware, Puppy Paw and Wham were the ones who first discovered or really pioneered the deer shoving as we see it today. This was way back during the early days of Age of Empires 4. And Puppy Paw just making a little bit of extra distance between that deer pack and Marine Lord's base. Realistically, even those few seconds extra that it would take the scouts to bring them back, as we mentioned, Zokoton, at this level, every tiny little thing adds up, right?
Definitely. Now, the problem with scouts is scouts don't hurt deer as well as spears do, as I've said earlier in games past. But we do see 2 scouts out for Puppy Paw already, so I'm definitely getting the inkling that he's thinking about something like that, perhaps later down the line. First Knight is out on the field of play as well. However, he's going for his fertilization to start things off. Pro Scouts, however, clicked up for Marine Lord. And he does not opt for that barracks, like you were mentioning. You see to go straight for the stable.
Oh, I think
a risk-reward kind of play, huh?
Did Puppy go for 2 scout this game, I think, right?
I think he did, yeah.
because the
I'm not
villager
sure when that one
count,
popped
right?
up.
Like I know Marine Lord
He's
has
down by
the,
1. Yeah, he is French, so maybe he did. Yeah.
Like we do have the 2 extra Imperial officials from
the IO
Chinese.
though, yeah, the Imperial official.
But I think it would still be bigger. So yeah, I think it was a 2 scout opening for Puppy Paw. And no pro scouts, it looks like.
Yeah, he hasn't gone for that. He went for fertilization instead. Interesting choice. I hope that wasn't a misclick, you know?
Yeah, I must say it's a very strange tech priority here from Puppy Paw, right? If you don't go for pro scouts, typically we do see that wheelbarrow being prioritized as the French is aging up. It will be done in quick time for the cheap cost. They can afford it very, very well. But instead, he skips it altogether, opts for horticulture, and just doesn't bother with pro scouts. And this looks to be a heavy aggression play from Puppy Paw, as already an archery range is out and routing forward.
Such has been the MO of Puppy Paw for some time now, playing much more aggressive. It's almost reminiscent of like I think of like GUA, who is always known for being like hyper aggressive, right?
Yeah.
Kind of Puppy Paw, kind of a similar style of late, being just very aggressive. We see the deer now being picked up, spears being enough to kind of push Puppy Paw's knights away. His archers haven't quite gotten across the field yet. I think there's maybe one walking across right now, and that won't be enough to deal with all of these just yet.
Yeah, Marine Lord was forced to cut his scout production short there in recognition and respect of the amount of aggression that Puppy is putting on. Seeing so many knights on the field so early, definitely enough to make him wonder a little bit as to what Puppy was cooking here. As 4 knights on the field already, more in queue, archers following as well. I don't think the archers have been revealed to Marine Lord yet, so there are, however, horsemen on the field. 1 out, another 1 in queue, 2 in queue more now for him. He's definitely sensing archers, and I mean, you know, you
Knights
need
diving in.
archers here.
Under the food.
Oh,
IO. That's a good pickups there, right? At any rate, I mean, you're okay with just that, even if you lose a scout here, which I think you will. 2, actually. Ooh, that feels a little bad, but taking the IO, that's a nice pickup there.
Yeah, it's a very nice catch.
Forcing him to get off the other one and use it to supervise the mill instead. Archer's now been revealed, getting hit on by the horses, though. Horses trying to get one. He will get one of those. And there's just too many spears for Puppy to do much here. He just doesn't have the mass. I mean, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, maybe a slight premature move out with these archers for Puppy Paw. I don't believe he saw the horsemen, or at least didn't register seeing them earlier, right? Otherwise, I'm sure he wouldn't have. But yeah, ideally, you want to have a critical mass of these archers before committing them into the fight, specifically out of the fear of
another dive.
Being dived here by the horseman. Dive goes in, the food gets idled, however the spears are following the knights in tow. Meanwhile, the horseman wraps directly onto the archers. 1 goes down, second one to follow quite soon after this. And Puppy Paw just can't contest this. There's too many spears.
Yeah, too many spears and the horsemen able to close the gap. So it only takes 1 or 2 horsemen to do it. Archer's fallen by the minute here. I'm not sure what Puppy Paw's second play is here. After this, these spears just are too much for the knights to stick around and do anything. So he's just throwing money away into those archers. Meanwhile, Marine Lord behind this, gathering more of the deer. Puppy Paw got survival techniques, is just going to send the vills out to the deer instead. Doesn't feel great for Puppy this game. Definitely feels like Marine Lord is militarily ahead a little bit.
The lack of wheelbarrow is also a bit concerning here for Puppy Paw, right? Like, especially moving out into these days. Definitely a tech that you want to have in by this point in time. He did opt to prioritize for the other ones instead. Instead focusing on army instead, but the army... Yeah, there's just so many spears on the line here for Marine Lord, and he's getting most of his deer in now, so realistically he's not going to be able to get any of Puppy's own deer. However, castle timing is a bit of a threat as Marine Lord is starting to build up a bank now.
Looks like he's reinvesting a little bit more into units, but it's just kind of tough. Where does Puppy go from here, right? I mean, it's not like he's like outright lost the game yet or anything. But that's a lot of deer coming in. He hasn't done a ton of damage. Only 2 villagers killed. The spears just remain a pesky threat. As the knights kind of look back and forth, hesitate, and return back. Not enough archers. Second archer range has been put down. But not enough wood for Puppy Paw to really maintain a constant archer production.
It's definitely
Horseman
difficult.
Spear doing really good for Marine Lord. Yeah, he's really done this really well, focusing down the archers. Because once you get that ranged mass, it gets really tough to deal with, you know? But at the moment, it's just been all Marine Lord.
Yeah, the spear horseman up against knight archer dichotomy of comps is something that has been... It almost feels timeless by now. It's something we've seen so often and so long. And it kind of goes back to what we've been seeing before. Yeah, nice
Walled in
little
the boar.
secured boar here on this side. Luckily, no archers
You don't
for
see that
Marine
too
Lord.
often at this high level. Horsemen, however, showing why that wall might be necessary, as on the deer, they are getting picked off one by one. A Vil kill too.
Oof.
Probably a third if he can manage it.
Yeah, he's gonna get it as well. Oof.
He gets it.
That's
a really good raid by Marine Lord. That's worth the price you paid for that.
100%.
Puppy is, however, on the board, but the Imperial Palace getting dropped down. That boar is going to become very visually easy to see from Marine Lord here once this goes up. Knights scouted out. Ooh, can he get on this in time, or will the spears be on there? Nah, the spears, they're just right there. That's a good defensive play to have them at hand. Puppy just doesn't have the archer mass to deal with this.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a forward Imperial Palace here, so that can be slightly dangerous. But yeah, with the good trades that Marine Lord has taken so far, like you mentioned, Puppy Paw does not have the mass to contest this. No blacksmith upgrades for him yet behind this. He's going to be taking a bit of a toll, I must say. And Marine Lord with 21 spares out, he's not feeling very much threatened by these knights whatsoever.
Looking for do some kind of damage, trying to get on the gold, but the spears again ever present, just right there like a prickly porcupine ready to shoot their quills. And the archers now trying to pick off some, but underneath the tower doesn't feel good. Look as they're getting focus fired by the tower. Has to back up a little bit. Knights trying to secure the retreat, but the archers, that's just not a big mass. A lot more spears than there are archers.
Yeah,
He's got 15 on the field now, so it's better than it was, but man, he needs a lot more. And meanwhile, that top deer pack is going to go to Marine Lord. He's finally gotten some scouts on there.
Yeah, it's being
big
stolen.
Payoff for the pro scouts play.
And if Puppy Paw doesn't spot that, that could severely hurt him in the future as he starts to run out of food here. And Puppy Paw is still reinvesting into this age and finds himself quite severely behind right now in army count. And the value still favors him, courtesy of those expensive Royal Knights, but these aren't really fights that he can take full out. Marine Lord is biding his time, not wanting to take any bad trades. That's something he's very well known for by now. Puppy Paw stuck in a bit of a tough spot as he has to reinvest to be able to contest this mass, but if he reinvests, Castle Age goes ever further away from him.
Yeah, and that becomes a problem. We start seeing crossbows in the queue for Marine Lord, and that will spell the doom of the Knights if Puppy Paw can't find some kind of an answer. Meanwhile, Horsemen, they know now where those Boarvilles are. They're going to get a little bit of a rude awakening when they find out that they are completely walled in. I don't think he'd be able to tell that much. Maybe he can and can see. It'd be hard to see. I don't know if he's noticed that there's walls around it. He definitely knows by virtue of that landmark he just built that the Vills are out here. But he does have some Vills on the berries.
Oh,
coming in.
Yeah.
And they got to run for it. Can they get through? The body block is going to be enough. They all die.
And
that's pickups for Marine Lord, and he's gonna start walling down the gates and say, "Hey, you're next."
That's so unlucky there for Puppy Paw. You know why you have those 3 Vills on berries? They couldn't fit around the boar socket.
Couldn't fit on the board.
Yeah,
8. Yep.
They just couldn't
Knights,
fit.
however, around the
so
horsemen.
Unfortunate.
I had nowhere else to go. Yeah, those horsemen definitely got their value back, and now a large amount of archers now. But the problem is now you've got crossbows coming in, so the knights are going to be even less effective. There's just so many spears too. Puppy Paw needs a really good fight. He needs a really good fight to go his way and get him back in this.
Lance is coming out from Marine Lord now to hit the field and start doing some raiding of his own behind this. But Puppy Paw is still fully reinvesting in Feudal here. And, you know, the good thing with Puppy Paw is that French doesn't really mind being an age down, courtesy of those knights, but as these crossbow numbers start building, as these lancers come out onto the field, which are obviously superior to his own knights, it's going to get much tougher, and there's just not enough archers here to clean up these spears fast enough for the knights to get a good engagement. Obviously, spears are so cheap for Marine Lord to produce, and with the lancers in tow as well, they will do a good job of picking off these archers, as Puppy Paw is forced to just keep kiting with the archers. It looks like these knights are useless.
Yeah, they're trying their best, and he's getting as much value as I think anyone ever could out of these archers in those circumstances. But they're still getting picked off one by one. Knights just looking for that spot to push in. Maybe now would be the time, but Puppy Paw's still kiting back as much as he can. Archers dwindling down to just 12 of them left on the map. Now the Knights' turn. Trying to find an opening. Not a ton of spears left, but pokey enough to be formidable regardless. It's a lot of Knights now for Puppy, though. 16 starting to feel like a healthy number. But can he get a good clean wipe? It feels tough, even with 6 spears there. feels like you just won't be able to get enough damage done in the crossbows for the DPS. Engagement happens. The Knights wrapping around. Can Puppy snipe enough of those spears? Most of them are gone down now. And the Knights now getting a good wrap around here. But the reinforcements from behind from Marine Lord coming in to help engage the fight as well. Spears coming in reserve. Knights backing off and archers dwindling in numbers ever more.
Yeah, this is disastrous from Puppy Paw right now. Half of his Knight mass has died in that fight. There's no more archers left besides 5 measly ones on the field now, looking to make a desperate defense in his last legs in this game as Puppy Paw finds the wind slipping out of his grasp at this point in time. The crossbows, combined with the spears and the lances, bodying so well here at the front for Marine Lord. A lot of them do go down, but
runs
Puppy
past,
Paw,
trying to get on them.
He just has nothing left in the tank behind this. Yeah, sadly, this is a full committal just to survive, but survive is just a matter of time, right? This Marine Lord can just keep this up all day. With full map control now, relics starting to be collected as well.
And he's up in age. He's getting the upgrades. Lancer's going to be coming in slowly. He's moving out in the map on the resources now, so food's no longer a real concern for him. And Puppy Paw just kind of left scratching his head going, gee, should I have gone pro scouts too? Fertilization, I wonder if that was a misclick. Why else would you pick that? Like, it just feels so strange to go for that so early.
I mean, it makes somewhat sense because he's going to be gathering a lot from the sheep, right? So he wanted to boost that income. But the lack of wheelbarrow, even now, I just don't understand it for Puppy Paw. It just feels like a notable oversight for me.
Well, as if he's just heard you, he is moving out towards those. Yeah. He's moving out already, and then has clicked up wheelbarrow. Oh, it just feels so bad.
That's so bad.
Scouts go, wait, that's ours. Come back.
Hey, get your ass back there.
And then they get surrounded by the units of Marine Lord. This game is over.
Yeah, very rude awakening for Puppy in this game, finding that the majority of his deer pack has just been stolen, and yeah, this is just... I really feel for Puppy Paw in this game because it felt like everything just went wrong for him, and you know, I can really relate to those kinds of games where it just feels like it's like it's rigged against you from the start almost. So definitely painful, and I just hope it doesn't take too big of a mental toll on him. As Puppy reinvesting again, a lot of archers up once more, but yeah, I mean, Marine Lord is feeling very cozy in this spot by now.
Yeah, it would pretty much take a throw, I think, this point for Marine Lord to lose this game. Puppy Paw down in age, down almost double the military numbers now, and losing ground economically too, given that Marine Lord's killed 16 of his villagers. The road to victory seems maybe closed for maintenance, as GG is called. Marine Lord takes the next game and now has a 2-1 advantage over Puppy Paw. Yeah, you can see the swing there. It just got out of hand. I mean, you feel everyone's been in that kind of game too, where you feel like it should be even. I should be doing good, but then paper cut here, a little slice there, you drop a vill here, you lose a knight there, and then suddenly you look up and go, oh man, I'm a whole age behind and I've got nothing to show for it.
Absolutely. And I think it all started when there was that first engagement with Puppy Paw's archers on Marine Lord's side of the map. So many of them went down to those 2 horsemen, whereas Puppy Paw's knights just could not engage from the sheer spear mass, right? So losing those initial knights, yeah, as the highlight is going to show here, losing those initial archers hurts your tempo so much as French in this kind of a situation, because you're dealing with a powerhouse economy in the form of China. And obviously with their boosted production, they can just get out so many units. So if you fall behind in units, you just lose map control, and losing map control as French is a really, really painful spot to be in.
Yeah, definitely. Losing the archers, I think that really was the crux of it, right? Like, if he'd have kept a good archer mass alive and was able to then contest those spears, the problem is those knights were rendered pretty much ineffective by the spear mass, and the fact that the horsemen, it only took 2 horsemen to just slowly trickle down those first couple archers that came in. And that's all it took. And then from there, the snowball starts, right? It just gets worse, worse, worse. You find yourself more and more of a hole. And then it turns into something like this, where you see all these archers just cannot compete. They can't kite forever, unfortunately. And Puppy Paw drops this game. Game 3 goes to Marine Lord. It's now 2-1. And up next, we've got Enlightened Horizon with the two new civs along the block. Knights Templar and House of Lancaster coming right up.
Ooh, the news.
I don't think anyone's surprised to see Knights Templar chosen by Marine Lord for this map.
Oh yeah. And
I'm
we get a
curious
nice
about
little,
Lancaster though.
showcase
play
of the
on it.
new civs on this new map, right? But yeah, I guess we have seen it depicted a few times here with mixed success so far for them. KT, however, I think has been very successful so far on Enlightened Horizon overall, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it feels like the meta civs for that would be KT, Ottomans. Those both feel very, very good on that map. I've seen some Japanese play on that map, but I think KT and Ottomans have been kind of the go-to picks.
Particularly curious
Man,
to
tough
see.
game for Puppy. Those fills caught out right there. It must have felt so bad. You're building a mill for nothing. Like there's nothing even out there anymore, and they're just dead.
The fact that like
bad.
that entire time he didn't know, and then when he decides to go for them, he discovers that there's nothing there.
Oh,
that must be
feels
so
terrible. Feels terrible. We got a minute left before we jump into the Enlightened Horizon. I expect some Dark Age Barracks shenanigans as normal, as has been the meta. And then the question I'm curious to see, what does Lancaster do? I feel like Knights Templar feels all like they can do whatever they want, but it feels a little more like they're going to get the Pilgrims going. They're going to try to get their eco ramping up early on, right? What does Lancaster go for? Do they does Puppy get aggressive with like the Lords? Or does he, take the defensive landmark and go for like a manor play? I feel like that gets too greedy too quick. So I'm hoping we see some Lords. It was kind of fun to see CSO use those to great effect against the Malians in our last series, but I'm not too sure how well they'd work against Knights Templar. What would you do if you were playing House Lancaster, Myriad?
I have to say on this map, especially in this matchup, I feel like it's difficult to play Feudal Age against any kind of Knight Civ, right? I mean, you're dealing with a premium unit that you just simply don't have access to, that gives so much map control to the other side. As to what will be done, we'll just have to see how it's determined by these players. As we load into Enlightened Horizon, Marine Lord spawning.
Game number 4.
Indeed.
Yep.
And Marine Lord spawning with Knights Templar on the south side of the map in the color blue, up against Puppy Paw's Red House of Lancaster in the north side. A standard opening here for both, right? The barracks on the merchant camp, we have seen this time and time again, getting the maximum value from capturing it at the same time as the villagers are building.
Yes, indeed. This has been the meta for the entirety of this series, and since this map has added these fun POIs in, first spearmen are each queued for both. Looks like to be 2 spears for Puppy, 1 so far from Marine Lord. Curious if we'll see any other changes going up. Looks like Marine Lord has a village just sitting there. Does he not have enough wood for a house, or did he build one back home?
Well, I think that's Puppy, but yeah, I think he's just short.
Oh, sorry, that's Puppy. That's right.
Oh, I built it in his base. I see. Yeah, there we go.
They built it in his base. Okay, old habits die hard, right?
Yeah.
You build the house right off the bat, and then you go, oh, wait a minute. I should have built one there. That would have made the time more worthwhile. That village
That's
can take
true,
a long
actually.
trek
That's
back home. It was probably just purely muscle memory.
Yeah, I think so.
Marine Lord's already got his spear headed towards the wolf den.
Yep, so it's not going to be any kind of merchant camp aggression shenanigans here for these two, right? Both a bit apprehensive. Just decided to go for the safe option, get the age up gold as needed, and then look to really get the game underway. I'm very excited to see this matchup. It has been going very back and forth since the release. I mean, outside of the one day where House of Lancaster was... I mean, the less said, the better.
For day one. Yeah.
The less said, the better.
The synchronized shot.
Yeah.
Just going bird.
Outside of that instance, I feel like these two civs have matched very, very evenly, one against the other. It's hard to say really who's favored. And obviously the map is going to throw some kinks into that mix in terms of how things play out.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like every time I start getting in my mind, oh, this is a good matchup for fill in the blank here, I realize, oh no, so I watch a game and then I see the exact opposite hold true. So yeah, these I feel like the meta is still in flux, right? As these new civs still settle in. There are, I'm sure, still some builds each of these civs could have that we have not yet discovered that could work in these situations, as we see Spears trying to get aggressive here on Puppy Paw. Marine Lord not holding back, send those spears right to the barracks, trying to decap that little merchant spot right there, trying to get the POI, get the passive resources. Puppy Spear just walking around there, waiting for his buddies to come back and back him up.
And
those guys going, hey, you and what army? And then here comes the army.
We do actually have a very severe investment up into the spearman here from Marine Lord. As you can see, he's nowhere near his age up yet at this point in time. Whereas Puppy Paw is already aging up with the Lancaster Castle. Nice little spot for it as well. It's going to protect that stone as well as the frontal entrance to his base. But due to this heavy investment here from Marine Lord, It will net him the gain of that merchant camp and maybe even torching down this barracks. However, Papipo is going to be ahead in tempo in terms of age up.
Yeah, definitely. He can start getting those Yeomen out early. And again, this is becoming kind of a calling card for Puppy Paw, is professional spears at work once again, getting those deer pushed back to home. I actually really like that play right here, though. You've got the spears anyways. I actually really like it because he's not going out of his way to do just that. He's saying, hey, I've got these spears. I can't fight up front. Let me get some value out of them. And I do like that. Keeping your units as value is good. However, Marine Lord knows what's up. He's going to go, hey, no. Those need to stop. Shoots down a couple of them here. Spears looking around, trying to find a spot. They're going to look for something, but not have anything going. Kingdom of France coming in for Marine Lord. So it will be very heavy cavalry focus.
It was a very nice shove in there by Papipo, right? He gets them a good bit under that radius of the House of Lancaster, and he can quite easily throw up just a couple of manors even ahead of the House of Lancaster there to further secure up that spot without even needing a tower, such is the strength of the Lancaster castle in a defensive position. Now, the barracks is going to go down here for Papipo, and he's not even able to actually upgrade the spearman, which could be a notable detail potentially. Like I said, Kingdom of France on the other side will mean that the Chevalier Confrère is going to hit the field here fairly soon. But most likely archers first for Marine Lord, I imagine. A safe passage is now also being researched.
See, he's moved out onto the deer as well. Getting the survival techniques to go with it. Always useful. First Pilgrim is away. And I think he's going to be at least get one or two of those in. Spears on spears here under the tower. By merit of the tower. You can see that coming. However, that's going to quickly change hands. I like how fast these things can be captured. Makes a lot of sense too, right?
Yeah, the more units you have next to them, the faster points of interest get captured. It's a nice little change between getting rewarded for shifting your army as opposed to trying to do it efficiently with just one unit, right? Is your choice. Very, very nice. It's always good to have choices.
First manor is built. So some passive resources coming in for Puppy Paw. Still hasn't reclaimed that a merchant camp outside of his base. So that's still trickling some extra resources in for Marine Lord. Meanwhile, Puppy, very heavy on the stone. Looks like he's going to plan on keep building these manors. I'm curious if he'll go for anything more than 3. I feel like 3 makes a lot of sense. I feel like going more than that in Feudal early without any kind of military units. I don't know. You do see the board getting taken here.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Papipo's not going to look to retake that merchant camp.
That Ville's weak.
Wow. Ooh, almost.
Can Puppy get that villager down? It's down to 4 health.
Only 4.
I'd focus that down.
Yeah, only 4 slaps from the scout, and it would go down. That could be a possibility.
You can definitely do that.
Yeah, it could. He might look to wrap around again and do it. But the state of the game as it is now, so Papipo's not going to look to retake that merchant camp because he is heavily investing into manors at this point in time. We now see the level 2 upgrade for the manors coming in as well, so he's going to get access to an additional 3 manors if he so chooses. And Marine Lord recognizes this, right? He saw the heavy investment into manors. He knows there's going to be no units on the field anytime soon. So he takes this chance to get himself as ahead economically as he possibly can, right? So we saw Sanctuary already researched, so 2 pilgrims are on the way towards the sites now. They do get intercepted here. But besides that, he moves out onto the deer and the boar as well. So getting himself a tremendous boost in food at the same time.
Looks like Marine Lord's ambling towards Castle Age here. He's got some food and gold in the bank. Spears kind of chasing spears. Pilgrims continuing on. That was a good pickup on both of those pilgrims for Puppy Paw. Denying that gold is so crucial to keep that castle timing away from Marine Lord. And as I see now, he's really behind on gold and has way too much food. So he might need to consider what he's doing. He's going for 2 of the, I can never say the word, but the Chevys.
Chevalier Confrère.
Into the queue. The Chevalier Confrère coming in. There we go. That wasn't too bad. Getting those in. So that's going to reinvest that gold. But now it almost missed macros him. He almost could have just not gone for them and gone for a quick castle timing because now he's kind of floating the food a bit here. In a minute or 2, he'll be able to go up to castle still.
Yeah, he's trying to sort of gauge what kind of investment there is here from Papipo. He realizes now, I think, that it's only those initial spears that were disturbing him. And he gets a decent amount of value there, right? Taking out both of the pilgrims is a nice little catch for him, and is definitely going to set Marine Lord behind, as you see. Just like you mentioned, right? The food is ahead of the gold, specifically because that trip did not go through for Marine Lord. He's still going to find an Aja buying this, and we do have the Lords being called in for Puppy Paw. 7 Demi-Lancers now hit the field.
This is the kind of the fun thing. Sometimes I call this the oh no button. But in this case, looking to do some damage here. Reclaiming the merchant camp finally. It's been a couple minutes. That's been a big benefit to Marine Lord. And it's going to be Republic of Genoa coming in for Marine Lord.
Yeah, Genoa makes a lot of sense here, right? You have so much income already from the pilgrims with the safe route that you have towards the sacred site. And Genoa is the commander you go for when you really feel in a cozy spot in the game where you want to get yourself even further ahead. And there's no direct threat to you, right? If you're under heavy pressure, normally you'd go for something like the Angevin Empire. But that's not the case here, as Marine Lord looks to greed out further. You go for the Genoa.
Excellent pull.
Nice reaction.
He's going to get some units on this because these Demo Lancers are going to be able to handle this just fine. Here comes the first Chevy in, second one right behind. Demo Lancers really can't stand and fight for long, especially with the spears coming right behind. They will head off looking for more picks. He's actually going to head straight to that deer pack. Let's see if Marine Lord pulls them out in time. Looks like they're already gone. And King's College coming up for Puppy Paw. So both players angling towards the Castle Age. Marine Lord, of course, already getting the upgrades and already getting the benefit of being there. Puppy not far behind. Now he's up to 6 manners. So pretty healthy eco for Puppy Paw behind this.
Indeed.
He's going to get military to match it, though.
Yeah, only the 6 manners here for Puppy Paw, right? And I'm quite curious to see what sort of composition you will look to go into after this. So the Demi-Lancers have been called in before that King's College, so there's not going to be any sort of well, they will get veteran seed up instantly once it finishes, and he might look to play into Collar of S's afterwards and play for Cavalry. But obviously there's already so many spears on the field here already for Marine Lord, and with access to the Genoese crossbowmen, they're going to make pretty good, short work of any kind of knight play here from Puppy Paw.
Yeah, Puppy Paw doesn't have anything going just yet. Curious to see if he's got any production buildings coming up for him, or what he's going to go for. Looks like it's going to be archery against the Omen coming up in crossbows to start things off, actually.
Yeah, slight worry.
It's going to be cav range. Okay.
Also, it is going to be the knights. I see. There might be a slight worry for people potentially with those unfair diving from one of the sides who goes up for those crossbowmen quite early. Meanwhile, Marine Lord, the first monk, is on the field and he's going to look to start getting those relics back ASAP towards his base. And we're about on the way for Marine Lord now as well. And yeah, Collar of S is now being researched for Puppy Paw. So it's going to give all of his armored cavalry, which includes the Demi-Lancers, an additional +6 damage up against armored units. So that will include the Confere.
That's such a good upgrade.
It's a massive amount of damage, right?
That's a great upgrade for what he wants to do here. Even these Demi-Lancers alive into castle kind of matters, right? He wants to keep these things going. Not just want to throw these away. Waits for the crossbows to come trickling in. We have 4 Lancers in the queue as well. So Puppy in a minute or two is going to be online, but Marine Lord already kind of up there as well. Has got 23 military to 10. And I like that Puppy Paw sitting on the relic, looking around, trying to see if he can snipe something. However, Chevy's coming up. That outpost is giving him perfect vision of this. And he doesn't have a gate yet, so
yeah.
a knight's going to have to go the long way to get back home.
Exactly right, yeah. And interestingly here from Marine Lord, we do not see him prioritizing... Ooh, nice catch on the Pilgrims again by Puppy Paw. Those two will also go down without making it to the sacred side. Once again, the safe passage was in fact a lie in this instance.
That's 260 gold he just denied.
Exactly.
However, crossbows going down. Oh my goodness, the Chevys get right on top of him.
Yeah, Chevalier.
Crossbows can't survive this. They need to get out of dodge. They are getting just gobbled up.
Yeah, very good catch here by Marine Lord, right? Picking these up on the reinforcements. A lot of value gain. Ooh, but a few of them do go down.
The Manor's helping out with the defensive arrow shots and able to get the choke point to keep them alive. That was a good little pickup at first, though, from Marine Lord. Meanwhile, relics, 2 already in and 1 in hand from Marine Lord. That's going to be 3 if he gets it. A 4th now in hand.
Yeah, all of these going over to Marine Lord would really further expedite that gold income. And what I was going to mention before was that, interestingly, Marine Lord opts for regular crossbows here instead of the Genoese crossbowmen. Which I think makes sense. Ultimately, against armored units, I think regular crossbows are probably still favorable, whereas if the opponent is mixing a lot of melee infantry into the Genoese crossbow... Ooh, big
Knights get caught!
Yeah.
Knights get caught out, and Puppy Paw drops out 3 Demi-Lancers. Those guys are quickly thinning out in numbers. I think those are the last of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, so back to what you were saying.
Only one is left on the field at this point. But yeah, the Generous Crossbowmen, they have a tremendous amount of extra damage against melee infantry in particular. So they actually do very, very well against spearmen, and men-at-arms even better than regular crossbowmen. But against cavalry, then regular crossbowmen should probably still be a very apt choice that doesn't cost as much here for Marine Lord. Yeah, there's no any kind of spears or Earl's Guard for Puppy Paw, so Marine Lord's perfectly content to keep making regular crossbows for now.
With 20 crossbows of his own now. Pretty good. That's a pretty good mass of crossbows. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't have he doesn't have a really good angle of attack just yet, so kind of just stuck looking for what to do. Getting his ranged upgrade now as well. But 4, now 5 in hand for Marine Lord. It's going to be a clean sweep of relics for him, plus the sacred sites coming under his control, plus the villagers. I mean, now they get the plus extra 30%, I think. So 169, 169. That's a lot of gold to get for essentially for free now.
Yeah, a lot of additional gold, right? That's almost an extra 30 per pilgrim per trip. So an additional 60 gold every single trip there, which is only going to get further boosted by any kind of fortress which Marine Lord looks to drop, which as his stone is starting to build is not far off at all. There's going to be a second town center instead before any fortress, so just to get his eco ahead that way, wanting to boost for villager count instead. And I think Puppy Paw is suddenly in a very, very difficult position here, right? I mean, you're only on 6 manas, you're now going to be down a town center, you have no relics, sacred sites being locked in as well.
Second town center coming up for your opponent that you haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
It feels like, man, Puppy Paw is really, really far behind here.
Yeah, quite severely so. Very, like even more so than the score would suggest, I would say. Which is why score is difficult to go off of a lot of the time. Oh, but wait.
That said, look at the numbers. Yeah, Vodka aptly pointing out that this is
crazy.
An Imperial play, a fast Imperial play. I was just sitting there going, man, like, where's Puppy? Where is he? Should be ahead of this. And that's why going for the Wingard Palace. He wasn't going to go Berkshire, but goes Wingard instead. Will this backfire? He is a really defensive civ. He's got 23 crossbows. Marine Lord, you can kind of get the sense he's sniffing something out. He knows something's wrong. He's not seen enough of Puppy Paw on the map.
Yeah, like it just doesn't compute. Lancaster should be just churning out units non-stop at this point in time, but Marine Lord sort of sees none. And I feel like this imp is just the epiphany of greed here for Puppy Paw as a massive
So
amount.
greedy.
Yeah, a massive amount of confrères move in, completely denying the gold from Puppy Paw, forcing the shelter into that outpost. There's a good amount of crossbows for Puppy here, and granted, Marine Lord's army is not exactly capable of penetrating any kind of fortifications like outposts too effectively. Siege engineering is on the way for him now, so rams might be on the cards for him. Looks like Puppy Paw, yeah. Starting with the, I think those are those the spearmen from the Wingard?
Must be.
For sure.
Take a look here.
Ah, yeah, it is.
Garrison command. 8 spearmen and 1. That's exactly what he needs, actually. That could really help him out.
It's true.
Needs those, except he needs to get his other spearmen upgraded. They are feudal currently, so he needs to get the upgrade for that. I think he might need to still build a barracks.
I think they're probably still Dark Age spearmen, right?
Now they're still. I can see the 2 tips there, the 2 little pips. They're
Oh yeah,
feudal
no,
age.
they are. Yeah, there we go.
He needs to get them to castle though, and then hopefully to imperial if he can eventually. But interesting choice. I'm fascinated to see if this is gonna work. The Rams coming out. Marine Lord's got a very sizable mass, 63 to 33. Is Puppy Paw gonna be too greedy here? It sure feels kind of like it right now, but we'll see how it plays out. I mean, all the relics in hand and in the base of Marine Lord. A lot of crossbows. 25 crossbows is nothing to sneeze at, and there's no mangonels or anything on Marine Lord's side.
One good
Bills on the gold getting pushed back though.
Good thing for Puppy Paw here will be the lack of a direct answer to these spears outside of the crossbow. When charge comes in from the Chevalier Confrere directly onto in, a lot of them do get skewered, but many of the charges do go through as well, and the mass just favors Marine Lord here heavily, as does the army value. The spearmen only now getting upgraded to veterancy, so they will now start doing significant damage. However, the crossbow mass still looks good for Marine Lord. Behind this, the villagers are dying
behind
to the
again,
rams.
taken down.
Yeah.
Bills go down.
Oof.
That's a tough loss to swallow for Puppy Paw, but he's managed, at least he's not dead. Spears now with the upgrade, able to push back and fight, and they'll play well into both the crossbows and into the Chevys. Oh, this is such a precarious spot when you do something super risky like this.
I mean,
that crossbow number's trickling down pretty low, however, for Marine Lord.
It did indeed. It's just not the unit he needed here, right? So it's he's willing to sacrifice some of them now in order to replenish his military with archers instead, which is definitely the right choice in this situation. But this Wing Guard actually providing an immense amount of value here for Puppy Paw. And Marine Lord is nowhere near his age up. Now throwing up fortresses to fortify his pilgrim route. But it might be
the military number. It was 63 to 40 at one point, and now it's 48 to 61. Puppy Paw swung this in his favor.
Yeah, the Wing Guard Palace producing units. So you save so many resources from the Wing Guard Palace, as well as producing them at once as the fight comes in.
Chevys get speared. Behind this, crossbows trying to do their damage. More spears behind this need to move forward. Puppy Paw sends them in. Crossbows trying to get as much as they can right now. Spears dropping down a little bit by little bit. There are archers behind this from Marine Lord. Crossbows trying to clean up as much as they can. He's got to keep that crossbow mass alive as they keep backing up. Kind of a wash of a fight, but a lot of damage dealt. A lot of Chevys went down for the spears. That's pretty cost efficient for Puppy Paw. Overall, I think he actually won that fight. A lot of dead Chevys on the field.
Yeah, destroyed value now, heavily favoring Puppy Paw at this point in time, right? Now making a move out onto the ball, and this Wing Guard, I must say, is actually paying dividends here for him. Siege Workshop being thrown up by Marine Lord now, so he might look for a kind of either Springald or Mangonel play to offset the disadvantage he finds himself under. Now, he might be opting for an all-in castle here to go for that Sacred Side victory. However, it looks like there's no Imperial Age upgrades in for Puppy Paw yet. Now opting for, I think that's the Hobbler upgrade, right? For Veterancy.
I'm not as familiar with that icon. I have to look at it.
I think it might be, just because I saw hill training as well. Yeah, there we go. Because he researched hill training from the King's College, right? Which is the extra charge damage for them, so I thought it made sense. As now Marine Lord with a massive Chevalier
clean up the archers as we see the knights come in, the cavalry coming in. There's a lot of spears from Puppy Paw though, and the crossbows behind do a lot of base damage for the DPS. Feels like Marine Lord's getting a little bit outplayed here on the field of battle, trying to kite back with these archers and spears. Not much going for him though. Puppy Paw backing up just in time here. This is what I was hoping to see. Puppy Paw putting a spear on each of those sacred sites, getting that counter wiped off. 5 minutes is a bit spooky. Get that counter reset so it's not a problem. And now Puppy Paw in a pretty good spot here. Marine Lord really can't sniff out the next age anytime soon. So if Puppy Paw can just continue to stabilize in this age as he's doing, this could be really scary for Marine Lord as we see the spears trying to get on top of the cavalry. They're trying to run past the archers. Crossbow numbers dwindling behind this though. And this is a lot of units. I think Puppy Paw is going to lose this army here, but it's trading out pretty efficiently overall.
You were right.
Army numbers still pretty even.
The space on the front line is going to be very difficult for the cavalry mass to get too favorable of an engagement, but of course the mass does get cleaned up in the end. And like you said, I mean, Puppy Paw definitely did a great job in stabilizing. It looked very, very scary there for him initially. But the crossbow mass he had, securing that age up and making it possible to now contest. Losing the Sacred Side hurts Marine Lord for sure. I don't know whether he thought it would be possible to win through the Sacred Side victory or not. But either way, we do have elite Hobblars now, I believe, on the way for Puppy Paw, and only spears as well next to it. He's going to play a mass melee raiding game now.
Hobblars are going to go really well into this because there are no spears whatsoever right now from Marine Lord. He's mostly just got archers and horsemen. So for a short period, at least these Hobblars are going to come in like a wrecking ball. We see a religious man falling prey to the spears. Sacred sites continue to be denied here. However, all 5 relics are trickling quite a bit of gold in from Marine Lord, so he's got a healthy eco behind this gold-wise. Still getting his pilgrims in as he can. Spears still trying to trade out with the Chevys. Archers, though, making it harder to get even balanced trades on this for Puppy now. However, the numbers, 77 to 65. He is down, however, a good number of villagers, 87 to 66 villagers. I wonder if Puppy Paw has been... Oh, it's the 2 town centers from Marine Lord. That's what's really making the difference here.
Yeah, that's right. Marine Lord very well managed to add in the second town center in the mid of that castle age. And now for Puppy Paw, I mean, The route for Marine Lord is very well secured. Fortress is up now. The Pilgrims will have safe passage at this point in time. Secrets are still under control, and like you mentioned, 5 relics in the bag for Marine Lord. He's still quite firmly, I think, in somewhat of a driver's seat here in this game. Still an age behind, and doing a very good job in holding despite that, right? Elite Hobblears are in at this point in time. There is no Elite Spearmen in yet, I don't believe. I didn't quite see, but I don't think they are yet. Notably, no university techs yet. Yeah, there's still veterancy. Now the upgrade elite is on the way, yeah. But there's no university techs yet. Yeah, absolutely.
57 spears at an elite level will make a huge difference. These rams might get caught out. Hobblears obviously can't take really good head-on fights. Much better a quick run and dash raiding units. Those spears are going to look pretty formidable here in a moment. Puppy Paw needs to secure, again, it's a stabilizing game, right? He needs to stabilize, continue to get the advantages of being an age up. If Marine Lord can close that gap and the gold number is getting pretty close once he gets the food going and gets up in age, then it'll be much more tough for Puppy Paw. So he's got kind of a window to try and make this game, take a good engagement here somewhere and get some advantage of being up in age.
Yeah, but this melee
still down in age. He's diving just a little early on this. Gets a pretty good brace out. I would have waited just like 10 seconds more.
The extra range and armor here from the fortress is going to prove pivotal in this fight. And yeah, Puppy Paw knows it. This is not something he can fight into, even an age down. These odds are not in his favor next to that fortress, providing such an additional, not only extra range, but extra armor as well for Marine Lord's troops. +1/+1 armor to all of his troops is going to definitely offset that age up disadvantage. And Marine Lord dropping another
military
fortress.
now.
Yeah.
A lot of fortresses. That's the name of the game for KT. Now, these spearmen are elite now, so they will be able to trade out much better than they were. Archers are still obviously the counter, but I like when you have an age up, the extra health, the extra damage, all of that. As Pupa coming with the Hobblears, looking for a fight, trying to bait these Chevys in. Trying to get them caught out too far. Spears wrapping around. This giant stone vein kind of making it a little hard to catch up to him. Has to go around those. And the back and forth continues. At this point, I think Marine Lord's trying to buy some time, get up and age himself. He's very close.
Yeah.
About a minute away.
If Marine Lord manages to fully secure this farm transition for him, and it's getting very close, 1,500 food per minute now on the way for him, compared to Marine Lord's 2,200. If Marine Lord stabilizes his economy fully, gets these wars up, gets all the fortresses he needs on his farms, then that is a position that he can then start to play a very serious offensive game from as well. But for now, with Puppy Paw, the first covering on the field for now, he might look to start taking down that northern fortress. Yeah, it will be the northern fortress as his first target of priority. Makes a lot of sense, because if he takes that out, then he can take out the sacred site as well and deny any further pilgrim income.
Yeah, that'd be huge. Having the culvert on the field is going to really help take down all of those heavy fortified spots. Big fight in the middle. Hobblears getting kind of chewed up a little bit there. But on the backside, Hobblears chewing up the Vills in return. Chevys come back and go, hey, wait. No, don't do that. But meanwhile, on the front line, spears on both sides. Peepaw kind of pinching either side here. Trying to make something happen. There's 2 fortresses back to back on that secret site. Marine Lord does not want that to go away. However, running out of stone, can't repair it anymore. Culveron's going to continue up to work. Kingdom of Poland coming in. It's going to give him plus 10% the cav. That'll be in just 30 seconds. That's a quick age up time. Wow. Comes in really fast.
Yeah, really quick. The age ups do speed up depending on the age that you do click up. Now, Puppy Paw dropping a forward keep here to try to secure this sieging position of his. However, the composition is looking really solid here from Marine Lord. So many spears and archers on the field counters directly what Puppy Paw has access to, even an age behind. Starting to add some Genoese crossbowmen as well, which will do great work against the spearmen as opposed to regular crossbows. The Culverin, only 1 on the field still, is working steadfast on that keep, on that fortress, sorry, and it will likely go down here for him. But Marine Lord now an age up as well.
I'm surprised that Marine Lord's not up by more Vills. He's only up by about 20, if that. I believe more like 15. They've each killed the same number. Yeah. He's not up by more. I wonder if there's some idle time, perhaps? Because he should be up to like 110 by now.
No, maybe so. Yeah, it's also the research time of the sanctuary as well as safe passage and the age ups. I guess slowing down a little bit. But 2 coverings on the field now. That fortress is not long for this world. We'd have iron clamps on the way, but it's definitely coming in too late. However, on the second fortress, it might pay dividends. Elite archers, elite confrere on the way for Marine Lord as well, and elite spearmen too for him. Surprisingly, no.
One thing to consider.
Yeah.
There's no gold behind this after these pilgrims get down. I mean, there's a lot of gold coming in. It's all exclusively pilgrim gold.
Yeah.
If this next one goes down, there's not a lot of gold veins on the Marine Lord's side that's left. He's going to be left without a ton of gold options. If Puppypaw can somehow squeeze that out with the map control, you see a big engagement here. Spears on Cav going around, but the back line looking really good for Marine Lord. However, Puppypaw swarming around. Can he get the front line taken down? He's pushing in. Front line dwindling. Abelar's doing what they can do.
It's a great timing found here by Marine Lord as the Billman upgrade also doing severe work here. Only some of Marine Lord's units are under the fortress, right? So not all of them have the aura. And the front line from Marine Lord is completely evaporated at this point in time. The fortress will fall. The Blue Pilgrims will get denied. Marine Lord looking to make a desperate defense at this point in time. Incendiary arrows on the way now for him. He needs it desperately to keep himself into this game. However, Marine Lord Puppypaw can't dive too far in deep as the choke point gets thinner.
Yeah, backup reinforcements coming right up. Oh, we saw a lot of production buildings right there. So the defender's advantage, keeping things going. Puppypaw replacing a fortress with a keep instead. He's really trying to secure this down. I mean, 3 keeps in a row. Good spot, and there we can see Marine Lord on the stone, very heavy, trying to get some. Hobblears coming back in right onto the range mass. Cannons in the back helping pick stuff out too. Tough. It's tough though because there's not a lot of front line here. A lot of spears in there for Marine Lord. Hobblears don't want to take that engagement too heavily.
Yeah, the hill training from the Hobblears just does an immense amount of damage with these charges. You can see as they charge in, so much of the HP bars for the archers is going down. The pilgrims again getting denied here by Puppypaw. Marine Lord finding himself in a tougher position than he originally anticipated, I think, as more and more of his infrastructure falls.
What are they called? Basically the men-at-arms unit that Puppypaw has. What are they called? He's got 12 of them on the field right now. I cannot remember the name. Yeah, the Earl's Guard. They're really kind of holding up because archers don't do a ton into them, so they're frontlining as best they can against those spears. It's really been the difference in a couple of these fights. However, incendiary arrows coming in now, but Marine Lord trying to see if he can take a better engagement now.
Yeah, incendiary arrows.
You can see the difference that makes.
Exactly, it's a notable upgrade here for him, and it's going to be huge for him. And you know, this Spearmaster from Puppypaw, I think, is so smart to keep it up because this completely denies the prime unit for Marine Lord, which is that Schlata cavalry that he has from the Kingdom of Poland. With that not being an option for him here, he's going to find himself in a tough position to try to come back.
On the pilgrims, you know, just getting picked off bit by bit by Puppypaw. I'm looking at that gold count. It's trickling down, actually. It was above 1,000, dips down now to 900. It's going to start turning into nothing here. I'm curious if that last gold vein, how many vills are still on it, but it's got to be dwindling quickly. And now it looks like actually in the corner we see that one's almost done, but in the corner, Marine Lord finding another gold vein, desperate to keep the gold source flowing through. He's got a couple in the back there. He's got a little bit left. The 1,600 he can fall back to if he's desperate.
The tough
a short period here where it's chipping down a lot, and food, man, Marine Lord's just pumping stuff out. He's like, the macro is really impressive to see. He's got 2,000 food a minute, and it's just always sitting at 100 or 200 in the bank.
Yeah, it's very tough here for Marine Lord to find a composition that will actually really work against this. I mean, Puppypaw is just making pure melee units. Every melee unit that he has, except knights, pretty much, as well as plenty of siege behind it. And this is so difficult to fight into. Yeah, the Baltic
old Randy's with the Mangonel. I almost wish he'd go into a switch into the Yeoman and get the synchronized shot for the back line. That would go really well into this composition, I think. But he's pretty well dedicated to what he's got. Siege getting sniped. Randy goes down. Mangonel trying to get a good shot off if he can. Fires. It's a pretty decent amount. Not enough to kill, though. Needs 2 to do that. However, Spears getting on top of it. And it gets sniped. Another shot, but mostly misses. Man, this is turning into a bit of a meat grinder here as both players duking it out here right in front of the sacred sites.
Yeah, that looked very scary there for Puppy for a bit. I thought the siege might be getting thrown away there by not paying attention. There's triple trebuchet out now for Marine Lord, and those Knights Templar trebuchets are definitely not to be underestimated. Double boulders being held, flaming boulders at that. The keep is not long for this world, but the culverins are going to do so much work in these fights. The damage, you can see, they almost one-shot archers.
A lot of culverins in the field. That keep looking like it's going to go down. 3 trebs enough to just kind of fire shot that thing to oblivion. Meanwhile, it feels like Marine Lord's starting to get the edge. The military numbers are very close, but it just feels like the incendiary arrow is really making a big difference. We do have a big upgrade coming in for Peepaw, it looks like. Trying to get some of those elite upgrades from the university. I'm wondering what the long-term goal is. Is one of them going to break? It's also interesting to me how far away from home both these guys are fighting. I mean, both their TCs are a lot closer than where they have to run to fight in the middle by the sacred sites.
Yeah, it makes sense.
They're both funneling their units all the way on the other side of the map.
It's funny when you look at it that way, right? Of course, it's worth noting that, yeah, all the resources are in that northern part of the map with triple large gold vein, as well as obviously the sacred sites, which is definitely what interests Marine Lord in that portion of the map. Means
one thing that we haven't talked about in a while too, that's really helping Marine Lord through all this, as his gold had to be kind of resituated, is that he's got the relics behind this, all five of them. So that really kind of helps bridge the gap as he's going out on those resources. Even though he's losing the pilgrims and doesn't have any resources coming for that anymore, having the relics behind this has been really, really beneficial.
And the thing is,
fight siege backing up.
Oh yes, Magna's getting into position, firing off. Nice dodge there by Marine Lord. The Govern's working as well behind this overtime. They're going to do a tremendous amount of damage. The front line for Marine Lord is dropping rapidly, however. And the Genoese crossbowmen combined with the archers make for a very, very solid back line here, but not when they start getting overwhelmed by Hobblars as well as Mangonels. As they push forward, Marine Lord once again forced to reset. And it's a good thing you mentioned the relics, because that has been huge for Marine Lord in this game. However, notably, there's no tithe barns researched yet.
Oh, that'd be huge for him right now. That'd be such a good upgrade. Meanwhile, Pilgrim's getting cannoned down. Complete denial on that front. The siege is kind of holding the fort down for Puppy Paw now.
Absolutely.
And he's got quite a bit. He's managed to get those trebuchets kind of pushed back. He hasn't gotten rid of them, but they're pushed back at least away.
Yeah, the siege is a huge defensive power here for Puppy Paw, and potentially even offensive as he now presses a bit forward in this situation. 3 Mangonels, another one in queue for Conference. That's a lot of siege and very scary to deal with. And Marine Lord could potentially opt to use the trebuchets to try to snipe out the siege. Oh yeah, there we go. I think that was an
He's starting to do that, yeah.
Yeah, once the...
It's like we're kind of at a stalemate right now, you know? Like, what's...
It really is.
There we go. Hobblar's looking for the gold. Okay, so Puppy Paw has finally realized, wait a minute, I need to get moving on this guy. And Marine Lord with the quick wall. Can he get it up in time? Puppy Paw might get distracted. Will he? He's running to it. Looking for the gap. Spear is trying to close it in. Oh, man, this is going to go up in time. Wow, what a quick reaction from Marine Lord. Seeing what was happening, immediately getting the palisade wall up in time. That could have been quite disastrous for Marine Lord.
Yeah,
that just to hold it on.
That was scary.
And now on the other side, stonewalled in. There's no breaking through there.
Marine Lord, now that he has his trebs in tow, I'm not sure if they're fully upgraded yet. I did see geometry being researched earlier. I'm only wondering whether he has the university text for them as well. And now, yeah, as Vodka's showing, adjustable crossbars on the way and quadruple mango in queue. And yeah, we do have it. So those trebs can actually do very significant damage against siege. Over a period of time as they keep sniping at it. It will force constant repairs from Puppy Paw. And with the Mangonels, that might be what Marine Lord needs to actually push forward here and regain map control. And Schlatter Cavalry now in queue as well for him.
Oh, but the Hobblar's going after the trebuchets. They're exposed. He should be able to get one, maybe two. 1, 2, maybe a third. No, he's going to back off then, but takes the 2 and cuts and runs. Big pickup from Puppy Paw right there. You got to get rid of those siege. You can't let your position falter any further. Got to hold on to what ground you've claimed. Nice. That's a great use of the Hobblars. That's like what they're built for, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. They're definitely one of the best raiding units in the game right now, without a doubt. And picking up that siege there, very nice bonus there for Puppy Paw. But the Schlatter Cavalry now hitting the field. The spear number for Puppy Paw has dwindled.
Both players are at 200 max pop. A big engagement here as they just send more into the meat grinder. The backline is siege for Puppy, trying to do his thing. At this point, coin flip as to who can push through.
Just look at the damage of those Hobblars as they charge in, one-shotting the siege almost.
Yeah, Puppy Paw starting to get a definitive lead. Look at the population now. It was 200. Now it's 165 to 200. Puppy Paw just wiped out 40 population in an instant from Marine Lord, and another trebuchet goes down, and I think the wheels are starting to fall off just a little bit from Marine Lord. It feels like Puppy Paw has finally fully realized his Civ's late game potential. Gold is still coming in for Marine Lord, however. And now the sacred timer begins. 9 minutes. as probably finally, actually kind of late, he probably could have captured those a little earlier. Finally gets all 3 sacred sites under his control.
Ooh, big shot on
Big
the
mango
mangonel
shot.
though. A lot of
Oh,
units going
man.
down. Big damage on the siege as well. Papio pushing ever forward here. Not really turned away by that kind of a mangonel hit, and he shouldn't have that. So many Earl's Guard on the field now. Triple sacred site
Taking
locked
down
in.
the production.
Yeah, the production is falling here. Marine Lord is losing grasp over this game at this point in time.
And those mangonel shots, look at that. You just see shot after shot landing on the front line. But Pupa, nonplussed by it, just continues pushing in. And, the production's huge because Marine Lord now is still having a hard time maintaining 200 population. We do see, looks like knights on the field coming in, or maybe that's horsemen.
That's the Schlatter cavalry coming in there for Marine Lord.
Oh, from
Arguably
Poland,
the
yeah.
best melee cavalry in the game, depending who you ask. You have an immense amount of damage and durability, as you can see them pushing through the front line, going directly onto the mangonels. One of them does go down, the second one is not long either. Ooh, it just survives. Oh, but it dies to the incendiary arrows.
And dies to the range instead. Big fight, but the massive siege is still there for Pupa, and he's still just pumping his unit in. He's at 189, it's 164 to Marine Lord on total population counts. Look at the military number, 71 to 33. Marine Lord may have an economic edge, but don't forget that it's full 9 manors for Pupa, so he doesn't need as many villagers as Marine Lord does. And the pilgrims haven't touched a sacred site in what feels like years. However, more of those Polish knights coming in. Here goes a culverin, big pickup, a second one down. Oh, these are huge. Third one just popped like a pinata, and all 4 are gone. That's a huge pickup for Marine Lord. Needed that to sustain himself in this game.
Yeah, losing the siege there for Papipo is definitely going to stop his push in his tracks, and this is late game Knights Templar almost fully online here, right? The Genoese crossbowmen with incendiary arrows up to 22 now, and now biology in queue as well for Marine Lord. A remass here with the Schlatter and the Genoese crossbowmen is going to allow for such an incredibly potent army from him. But for now, it is going to be horsemen. He's saving his gold for now. Hobble reinvesting into spears and hobblars, pushing forward, and now hand cannons on the field for him as well.
Yeah, it definitely feels like there was the tech switch into those. How do you say them again? The Polish ones, the
Schlatter, I think.
Schlatter.
I'm not Polish, so I don't know for certain, but I
Close
think it's
enough for
close.
government work, for what I will say. But yeah, what a great tech switch into it. But now getting swarmed by the spears. Back and forth continues. I feel like we've been looking at the same spot of the map for, gosh, like 20 minutes. That little half wall right there has been on our screen for a long time, as neither player can seem to push too far. Gosh, it looks like World War I almost. Just the stalemate continues in no man's land. Meanwhile, the big development, however, on the field is, as Vodka's pointing out here, we've got hand cannons on the field. Oh, but a big raid happening on to the gold. Can he get there in time? Not a lot of units there to defend. Puppy Paw gonna have to pull these villagers back if he wants to keep them alive. They're still just mining.
So many villages going down here. Oh, Papipo right behind us, and he can't afford to take too many of these losses, as he's still only on that one single town center. He does have the manors working overtime for him at this point in time, of course. And in Lord, reinvesting into Chevalier Confrere once again. They are now elite techs. Not often do you see elite Chevalier, I must say. There's chaos all over the map, as we can see. Temple Sacred Site still locked in for Papipo. 5 minutes left on the timer. A landmark victory approaching here as well for him.
Man, this is gonna
Most
be
of the
close.
fortresses
I'm looking
going
at that
down.
sacred timer going, this keeps going on, but Puppy Paw hasn't really super secured those in. And there's villas around to be pulled on the wood. Can Puppy Paw keep this going? We're now 42 minutes in. Oblar's trying to get onto those trebuchets. They're going to be stopped. Cavalry in there in time to defend. Mango shots from the top rope, trying to get some hits. A lot of units weak, but not quite dead. Meanwhile, Cow, our secondary viewer, is showing off to us in the bottom corner. There's a hole in the wall.
Oh, this entire
Down
time
south.
there was a gap. That's
There's a
incredible. If only he knew. But now,
If only.
Papipo
Instead,
with the
it's another wash of units, as it's now 40 to 50 some odd units. They're still fighting over the same little scratch of land.
The amount of bodies that have been buried on this field is reached beyond count, as both of them again pretty much
big
wipe their
mango shot.
armies. Ooh.
It feels like they've been just grinding it out for like 20 minutes. Another huge mango hit. Those hand cannons are expensive. and they're dropping like flies. Another shot, and they're gone. Is Marine Lord getting the edge again, or is Puppy Paw going to quickly remass and be back?
It's so tough to call. It's so tough to call right now, but the triple sight here for Puppy Paw is doing great work for him, right? But then again, the 5 relics is doing great work for Marine Lord as well, and it just feels like
Marine Lord, he's only got that little 1,600 gold back in the corner. I think he's forgotten about it by now. He's out of gold.
Yeah, he definitely forgot about it.
Puppy Paw can hold for another 3 minutes.
It's not too much anymore. He has no choice but to go for this keep right now, right?
Big fight, but I think Marine Lord trying to break through. He's got some men-at-arms coming in. Can he get through? More reinforcements from Puppy Paw behind. The siege still alive, but barely getting hit. One goes down. The rest are alive. And Puppy Paw holds yet again. And I think this might just be it.
It might just be it, right? There's just no more gold in the bank. Even if Marine Lord realizes the 1,600 he has left, realistically, that's not enough for so much. So, yeah, Marine Lord knows it. GG is cold. And Marine Lord losing to Puppy Paw in this game number 4.
What a game. Wow. Puppy Paw holding. The first half of that game, the first 15 minutes did not look great. But Puppy Paw showing kind of what late game English can do and be. Once he got the sacred sites controlled and he just kept the pilgrims away, it was all a matter of till when did that gold get expunged. And yes, Marine Lord had 5 relics, but with no tithe barns, that doesn't help a lot. And 5 relics just isn't enough to supply a late game army indefinitely. Puppy Paw holding until finally he breaks him, and we go to a game number 5, tied up at 2. Wow.
Incredible series here so far. Marine Lord up against Puppy Paw, and losing in this position as Knights Templar on Night Horizon, definitely a difficult spot to recover from for Marine Lord. I mean, with 5 relics, that, theoretically that's not a position you should really be losing from. So Marine Lord definitely might be feeling a bit of pressure right now, losing like that, and might not be as simple of a series as he may potentially have expected.
I think Puppy Paw is probably very happy with how this has gone so far. Because I mean, Puppy Paw knows it's going to be a tough series, right? He has full expectation that he is going to be up against one of the best. He's got to prove it. It's been a really tough go recently against Marine Lord. But yeah, I mean, early on, look at this. It looked so dire, some back and forth, but Puppy with a quick imp play, and then the push right when he did looked so tenuous, but able to pump out enough spears, able to use the Windguard Palace as best he can to get this cost-effective trade out as much as he can, and just pumping those spears and just holding. And I don't think he built more than like 1 yeoman the entire game. So
yeah,
for viewers at home, Lancaster can win without yeoman, I guess. That seems sacrilegious to say, but as we've seen in this game, it can be done.
It definitely can be done. I mean, just think throughout the course of this game how much value has been extracted from that Wingard Palace for Puppy Paw, right? The amount of resources, every single time he produces from it, the amount of resources is saved. Now, the numbers did get shaved a little bit, so now it's not even as good as it was beforehand, but still.
When you build it at the 18-minute mark, you build it at the 18-minute mark, and you've had it churning the entire game for the next, what is it? We ended at like 40-something minutes. So for 22 plus minutes, you've had the Wingard just giving you value. That is extreme.
It's almost a little bit like the Karganate Palace for the Mongols in that regard, right? You just keep getting resources worth of units. Obviously, the Wingard does cost, but you still save some resources, whereas the Karganate produces slowly, but for free in turn. And obviously, you can't pick what units you get. So, though, this game right here is... It's just prime war of attrition, late game AoE 4, right? It comes down to all the little things that occurred throughout the game, any large missteps that may happen at that point of the stage, like misstepping with the siege, potentially losing it all out of position. Not so much of that happening here today. I mean, at this level, both players are obviously very, very capable and of keeping their attention spans up and pointed for this kind of an extended game, but ultimately Puppy Paw clawing the win away from Marine Lord in what looked like it was almost a done deal for him in that mid game.
such a risky play to go for a fast Imperial like that. But once you stabilize, it's like, okay, you've stabilized. Now you've got to slowly inch your way back into the game and take over half the map and, you know, make it so you can win it. And then just the holding. Once he denied the sacred sites, as long as he could keep Marine Lord off of that, that was his win condition, essentially, right? Was just keep him off of that. And I want to point out again, it's really funny that neither player even sent anything to each other's bases at this point. Like, both bases were pretty much wide open. No one walled off entirely. They could have just gone around, but they just kept fighting this. They just kept going for this one spot, not even a side thought. I mean, eventually Puppy sent some Hobblars to the western gold spot that got the quick wall, but most of their actual home bases were untouched. It's so funny how far all these units traveled just to come fight and die on this little strip of land right here next to the sacred sites.
It especially surprises me
game.
from Marine Lord's perspective, right? Because theoretically, a simple torch through that southern wall there, and all of the manors are ripe for the picking for him, right? And torching those down essentially just disintegrates Puppy Paw's entire economy, really. But Marine Lord did not opt for that. But similarly for Puppy Paw, there's actually a gap in Marine Lord's wall this entire time. But then again, there's just so much rares on the north side of the map where that just is the point of contention. So it's still a bit surprising, however, to not see any of those raids through those exposed parts of the base. But
yeah, when you wonder if you start peeling any units away from this to try and go raid, would you have enough to hold this position here? You know, it becomes kind of tricky. Like maybe they just really felt like they need to throw every last thing because one grain of sand can make the difference, kind of idea, you know. But gosh, what a fight! Both players just showing their high quality and their high skill in this best of 7 series. Up next, we've got another pseudo mirror match in Zushi and Chinese. We do have the redraft after 4 games, so we take a look at Frisian Marshes coming up. And looking at the redraft, hey, surprise, Rus and HRE both banned. This time Marine Lord gets Japanese. Although has Chinese, Mongols, Abba, and House Lancaster again. Marine Lord with Delhi, Zushi, which he's using here, Japanese, as I said, and then Malians. Man, you feel like it's the same couple civs, just in constant rotation, you know?
The civs that are good are the civs that are good, right?
Yeah.
And interestingly now, we have Marine Lord who puts the heavy priority on the Malian pick as opposed to Puppy Paw. Maybe just stealing it away from him. Marine Lord, of course, being host, he does have access to that first pick over Puppy Paw. Puppy Paw instead taking the Chinese, followed by a Jushi ban. Marine Lord banning Jushi from Puppy Paw and Puppy Paw banning Mongols from Marine Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Marine Lord taking Japan. It's to an extent, it's like they kind of reverse drafts almost.
Almost, yeah. We got Malians and Japanese from Marine Lord instead of Puppy Paw this time around. Should be fun to see. Frisian Marshes, so much food. Do you pro scouts on Frisian Marshes? There's enough food elsewhere, but there is the deer still. I just kind of, when I see both the Chinese civs coming out, I just expect it to be pro scouts and just don't question it at this point.
It's interesting. I mean, Frisian Marshes is a unique map in that regard because of how much food there is, right? I think it's entirely possible that one of them might opt to skip pro scouts. Maybe Puppy Paw on the Chinese, if that were the case. But again, like we spoke of this before, Sokoton, right? In our earlier matchup, when we saw this very matchup on Carmel instead, you really sacrifice a lot by going to TC, potentially most of the relics, most of the map control, and then the other Civ can just easily add the TC of themselves. They'll be behind a few villagers, but they'll be ahead in relics and map control. So it's tough to justify this kind of a pseudo mirror, you know?
It feels like last time there was the chance for them both to go pro scouts. Puppy Paw didn't, and it didn't work out very well for him. I would imagine that he might be thinking this time, just play the meta, just do the pro scout thing, get the deer, move on from there. There's a ton of food on this map, however, though, so I feel like Zushi's going to be pretty happy about that if they can get out onto the fish. I don't know. This is one of my favorite maps to watch because there's a lot of food and it's kind of far from the base. How do they play it out? It usually ends up being very aggressive in the later game. So we'll see. We've got 3 seconds to start. We're going to go ahead and dive on in. It's going to be game number 5. You are watching the Elite Classic number 3, hosted by EGC TV. I'm Sockton. You also got in the booth with me, Myriad. We're watching Puppy Paw and Marine Lord tied up at 2. Puppy Paw as the red Chinese and Marine Lord as the blue Zushi's Legacy.
Frisian Marsh is a map known for its vast amount of food that can be accessed by either side, not only in the form of sheep, but also plenty of shoreline fish. The best food source for villagers in the game in terms of gather rate, even faster than the boar. And on top of it, very good trade routes. Not that they'll become too important in a game like this between these two civs, neither, of course, being very prone to trading, at least in the early parts of the game.
I say if we see trade, we'll have gone on this map for a long time.
Way too long that would be, without a doubt.
Way too long, probably. Yeah, we'd probably be pulling our hair out with that one.
Although, frankly, I wouldn't put it past these players, especially on a map like this, because one problem with maps like this that do have a lot of food access, especially safely on either side of the map, is that it does tend to lead to much, much longer games due to the defensive nature of such maps, as is the case for Frisian Marshes too. So hopefully that's not the case here today, although, because I'm sure both players would be extremely tired by that point, and so would we, naturally. However, I'm sure they will fight tooth and nail despite that.
Most certainly. It's a pretty good sheep haul here from Marine Lord. Again, I love this map because of all the food and all the sheep. I just love hearing that little bell ring as they gather more. One difference to point out already is we've got the just the one house opening for Puppy Paw instead of the village opening. Slight difference, whereas Marine Lord opted to build the village.
Wonder, as you mentioned earlier, soccer
both
turn.
players.
Yeah, both players pretty comfortable with their sheep counts here. Yeah, Pro Scouts is going to be the main question here. I'd be very surprised if they don't go for it, purely because of the fact that it is a pseudo mirror matchup, right? Like, you can't really let the deer go away to one player and you don't take them, even with the fish. However, a point can be made that, I mean, I was going to say that it's a similar case where even without Pro Scouts, you can still secure the deer on your side. That frontal deer pack for Puppy is very exposed.
Yeah, he does have a lot of sheep back at home, though. He's got the lion's share of the sheep here, 21 gathered. He's got a bunch sitting in the back behind his town center as well that I was able to see. Meditation Gardens getting ready to come up here in just a second for Marine Lord, and Imperial Academy already underway for Puppy Paw. Yeah, look at that. Oh, a lot of sheep there for Puppy. He's definitely happy with his number.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice little lead here for Puppy Paw. It shouldn't be too significant throughout the course of this game. 17 is still a great count here for Marine Lord as the Meditation Gardens goes on to a double gold and stone, as well as berries. So, nice little Meditation Gardens here for Marine Lord.
Excellent
Certainly.
Meditation Gardens. The berries. Do fish count for Meditation Gardens?
I don't believe so.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I didn't think so. Yeah, no, hearing that it's no. Wasn't sure, but he does catch the berries there in the wood and the 2 gold. That's still a nice spot to be. There's a village there for Puppy Paw, getting some more population room.
Well, that's interesting, actually. Getting the village in so early for Puppy Paw is severely going to slow down any kind of Pro Scout timing for him, as well as stable timing.
Yeah.
And judging by the lack of gold mining for Puppy Paw, I feel like this might not be Pro Scouts at all.
I mean, there's so much food in the map, and he just got so much sheep. I kind of get why. By the time he runs out, he'll probably want to be making granaries anyways, right? So maybe on this map we don't see it just because there is such an abundance and overabundance of food.
Yeah, it could be the case, right? I mean,
Either player's clicked on it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and Marine Lord not opting for it either. He does still have plenty of gold mining.
Not a ton of wood just yet. Yeah, maybe he's waiting just to delay it a little bit.
A lot of food in the bank, and actually horticulture being prioritized here for Marine Lord. Very curious openings from both players here.
Stable queued
Was that a
up forward.
misclick on the horticulture? Can't be, right?
I mean, we asked this last time again,
Yeah,
right?
we did.
We were wondering last time, like, wait, did Puppy Paw mean to go horticulture as French in a game where Pro Scouts was on the menu?
We do see
I mean, there's a lot of sheep there, so I could see it just for the sheep, right?
I mean, it makes sense, right? Yeah. I just also, because you were still banking up quite a lot of gold behind it, so I figured, like, you wanted still to go for Pro Scouts, but Puppy Paw goes for his own horticulture now. It very well could be. Maybe one horse went to test the waters.
Song Dynasty instead, going for Barbican, securing up the gold and the fish.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is really smart, I think, here, right?
Yeah.
You get the gold, you get the fish safely. This is a great spot for a Barbican. Gives you a little bit of angle towards that stone and the berries as well. Arrox being rushed up now by Poppy Paw, probably upon seeing that horseman commitment from Marine Lord.
Marine Lord scouting everything out. Meanwhile, Puppy Paw looking around the pace of his opponent too. With first horseman underway, headed out towards Puppy Paw's base. Gonna try and get onto that Barbican pretty quickly. He might actually get a Vil kill from this if he goes in. And he goes. Vil's pulled. Barbican not done yet. In comes the spear to come save them. And yeah, Marine Lord's gonna back away. Go, oh, okay, never mind. And out go the Vils. Puppy Paw's gonna swap Vils out. That injured one's gonna go onto the gold. Horseman looking to get some value still. He's trying to find a way to get in there, but I don't think he's going to have much going.
Good reaction by Poppy Paw to get the spearman out there, so the villages are relatively safe now. Triple horseman here from Marine Lord, and behind this looks like that's all he's going to do. Instead, going to commit directly.
He's going to get one
towards the castle. Oh, he does actually get one.
Nice little pickup. I'd trade a horse for a villager early game, only 6 minutes in. I think I'd make that trade.
Yeah, that's not a bad trade at all, especially in this situation where both players do opt for that castle, so it's not like you're dealing with fine margins in terms of unit counts. Mount Lu Academy already on the way here for Marine Lord, and you see
So fast.
people might be paying a bit of a heavy price for that Song Dynasty. He is going to start getting ahead in villages now, and he has the Barbican to keep him safe. But the trade-off he makes is a severe deficit in castle timing here.
I mean, you say that, but Puppy Paw's already got a good chunk of the food and a decent amount of gold coming in. He could get up pretty quickly behind this if he so desired, but the question is, should he? Oh, that's going to be a dead horse right there. Good little stab from Puppy. But there goes up Castle Age from Marine Lord. And so now what does Puppy Paw do? He's got 2 more spears in the queue.
Yeah, he's going to need a bunch more spears here to defend against these initial Lancers whilst trending up towards the next age himself. It is going to be Lancer priority here for Marine Lord. There's no regional inspection or anything being researched from the Mount Lu Academy just yet. Again, the Mount Lu instead of the Shaolin Monastery here. For those who aren't aware, Mount Lu does provide some very unique Imperial official technologies for the Jushi's legacy. Right now,
I'm seeing
regional
it more and
inspection
more,
being
too.
showcased by Vodka here.
And we're seeing that landmark chosen more and more and more. It feels like its twin or its cousin there is usually more picked, but of late, especially in today in this tournament, we're seeing it pop up a couple times. Horseman trying to get the scout. Spears are there. Lancer on the field, however, and 2 on there. Be really close to Castle Age. Just a little more food needed. One more drop off, and you'll have it.
Monk's already
Lancers
on the
and
way
horsemen looking
now
for
for
spot.
Marine Lord, looking to start slowly gathering up the relics. More and more Lancers in queue for him. Regional inspection has been researched, so now the Imperial officials or Marine Lord do supervise production buildings at double the rate they were before. As we saw in the series beforehand, a Lancer takes only 14 seconds to train.
Puppy Paw feeling pretty good as the astronomical clock tower getting rushed up by 10 villagers. That's coming up very, very fast. And the question is, what's his comp going to look like once he's up into castle? Obviously, he's going to want to probably upgrade spears probably to hold off Lancers, although only 4, now 5 Lancers coming in from Marine Lord. Hasn't made a ton of those just yet. I think he's getting his economy a little more up online.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a stark difference in this series as opposed to what we saw earlier from in the CSOB series. Poppy Paw, you see, there's no stables prep. It's going to be Spearman, Crossbowman for him. And this is what I meant earlier. Puppy Paw, I think, understands that he wants to look for this scaling point with China. Part of why he added that early Song Dynasty as well. He wants to look for some safe scaling here. Try to get closer towards that late game in a good spot without hopefully giving away too much. Although, as we say that, his home relic is taken away by Marine Lord now.
Greedy Marine Lord. I like it though. You know, if you're that's one of the benefits of getting Castle Age so quickly is you should go out and get the relics. I mean, that's going to help you throughout the rest of the game. We saw Marine Lord do that last game. He did lose that one, but it kept him in it. Very, very helpful for when he needed to get more gold in other locations. Lancer's looking for spot. This wall, in the process of going up, he's going to get there, and it's... Oh, he might time it just right. Only 1 villager, but with the increased building speed for Chinese, that might be up in time.
I think
Meanwhile-
he's going to be
just short, as a Marine Lord can sort of smell it that it's... Oh, he actually cuts away though. Oh, it leaves the one Lancer. Very nicely
He
played
gets
by the
in.
Marine Lord. Yeah.
Now, and these things aren't terribly, hanky, so he really could just sit here for 20 seconds and tear that down. Might be faster than
Absolutely.
walking all the way around, honestly. That villager is not long for this world, though.
I feel like
Another
Marine Lord...
pickup.
Puppy Paw, sorry, maybe bit off a little bit more than he can chew with that wall, right? A bit of an ambitious wall this early into the game, especially against mass cavalry from Marine Lord on the other side. Maybe a slightly more conservative wall to secure the bottom below the Barbican would have been better. But either way, it's going to be safer now. It's not like the Lancers can do too much damage in this situation. Puppy Paw, still... Yeah, like we see exactly what I meant earlier. Full economic priority here from Puppy Paw. Even sacrificing production to get as many of his techs as possible, wanting to get his economy as strong and safe as possible to itch towards that later stage of the game.
Here's the danger, as spears have to deal with these Lancers. That's a lot of Lancers and really just not enough spears to deal with it. Marine Lord backs off. More spears behind this helping to reinforce. That will do it. Those first spears right there, they can maybe hang out for a moment, but those Lancers are a scary number. But thankfully, Puppy Paw has the numbers to defend, able to chase them away and keep going. Shaolin Monastery coming down for Marine Lord to get more of those monks out on the field.
Yeah, so we do have, in fact, a direct move into Yuan Dynasty here for Marine Lord. Quite surprising, I must say. Skipping Song altogether, but I guess it makes sense on this map with the severe amount of food that he has access to, right? So with the Yuan Dynasty, he's going to be able to produce units much, much cheaper. Meanwhile,
Feels like the game's kind of slowing down a little bit, but here come the Lancers again. Look for some damage. They get one. Take a spearman down for their trouble. But the crossbows now become kind of the big DPS unit for Puppy Paw, right? The fact that these guys can't really even come close to the spears before they start getting hip damaged by crossbows, which do pretty significant amount of work. Barbican defending. That one Lancer's close, weak, but not dead. Now, Marine Lord just kind of running around the back of the base, checking to see if there's anything out there. Meanwhile, bringing relics home. He's got 3 relics and 1 more in hand right there, so that's 4.
yeah, Marine Lord.
Once again, Marine Lord just right on it for the relics. There's 1 in Puppy's base. I think he should be able to get at least that one. I don't know if... I'd be surprised if Marine Lord could snake that one away from the Barbican.
There's another one, actually. Yeah, there it is. Quite safely in his base. So he can at least get that one for himself. Marine Lord just playing pretty textbook Jushi here, right? Using the Lancers to assert himself the map control he needs. Now the sacred sites are locked in. And I think Marine Lord kind of understands what Puppy Paw is trying to do here, right? He's playing for that late game. You already see double Broadaxe level 2 in for both players at this point in time. And it is going to be a Juganu composition switch here for Marine Lord. He's going to look to play Juganu up against Puppy Paw's light unit mass here. Prudently so.
Have Nest of Bees, though. I mean, Puppy Paw right on it with the Nest of Bees. So that's... Juganu could be effective, but the Nest of Bees proving a very capable defensive unit. At this point, I feel like Puppy Paw's just kind of buckled in for the long game again, you know? He feels like he's wanting to take this as long as he can. Marine Lord sitting on a lot of gold. Wonder if maybe he's thinking about a quick age up into Imperial himself, or is he going to reinvest that and try and get food going? Say, he doesn't have the food eco to get up into Imperial.
Yeah. Blacksmith upgrade is now on the way for both players. Very similar timing, actually, in that regard. A little scout being annoying there. Ooh, a lot of villagers being caught out of position here. The Barbican, ooh, they make it just in time. A few of them will go down, though, but not nearly as bad as it could have been. Or even just down.
Oh, that Nest of Bees has to watch out, though. Nest of Bees is really exposed. Villagers wrapping around to making sure they're ready to heal if they need to. But he goes and shoots past him.
Yeah,
Nest of Bees is just open for the taking, and
ooh, and he doesn't commit.
He doesn't go down.
Reload.
He didn't commit to it.
Reload. You saw his hesitation. He already backed out once. Like, he wanted to commit, then he backed out, and then he recommitted again. He knew he would pay a heavy price to take that. The Nest of Bees down, but then he decides not to commit again. That's actually terrible for Marine Lord right now. He loses so many Lancers for nothing.
I was like on my lips. I was about to spit out. Pop goes the weasel. It was right there in front of him. Instead, lets Puppy get away with a freebie. And the mulligan he will take as the Sacred Sites being contested by Puppy Paw now, trying to get those away from the hands of Marine Lord. Suddenly, Puppy Paw is looking really good. He's got a lot of eco. He's got a lot of military. Those spears are nothing to joke about.
And with those villagers and the amount of stone Puppy has in the bank, I think there's something very, very unfortunate for Marine Lord playing on his mind. And with such a severe army mass for Puppy Paw, Nesta Bees now as well to counter the Zuganu, he's going to drop a keep.
Sure enough. He's going to get aggressive with it too, right on the outskirts of the base. He was going to put it a little close to the Sacred Site. Instead, drops it a little more forward onto the resources. I like that play. Aggressive, but at this point, Puppy Paw's eco is pretty much coming up online. China becomes kind of a menace 15 minutes in the game when left relatively unscathed as archery range number 1 goes down. Spears taking a look at another one. They're going to get both if they can. He's going to back up a little bit though. That keeps pretty much a guarantee to go up though. And adding some production next to it. I love that he puts the Siege Workshop right next to it as well.
Oh, but nice wraparound here from Marine Lord, picking up one of the Nesta Beasts for free this time round with no real danger to his Lancers at this point in time. You know, Fred being supervised, that is going to come out so quickly, but still this mass from Puppy Paw, although countered by Zuganu, the Nesta Beasts are going to make that a lot harder than it looks.
Just needs to make sure he doesn't leave it abandoned as that Nesta Beast is just kind of sitting there. He's got to be careful here. Yeah, oh, wow, look at how fast those guys drop. A lot of Jugunu. He doesn't have the mass to really secure this. He needs to get under that keep like ASAP. He finally backs up. I think he should have left that a little earlier.
Yeah, the Zuganu from Jushi especially, not to be underestimated with the bolt magazines upgrade. They do a significantly higher damage than Chinese Zuganu would do. And people now suffering a little bit from the raids. Not too much damage done except some idle time. He's going to start working on the keep, but with 2 Nesta Bees now here on the front line for Puppy Paw.
Those are some exposed vills.
Oh, that was...
Doesn't get a single kill, but man, that was close.
That was
Nesta
really
Bees coming up
there.
to try and take a shot at the Siege. They're not going to do a lot there. It's going to elicit a response, however. They're going to get a shot off on the Jugnu. That would be huge. He's got 2. Ideally, you want a 3rd Nesta Bees in there to really rain down hellfire. But 2 is definitely scary enough. You got to be careful. Meanwhile, Lancer's still in the back of Puppy Paw's base, looking for some kills. Here comes an engagement, maybe. Nesta Bees moving on up. Getting greedy, going for the shot. Gets a pretty good hit on some Juganu right there. Spears backing up. He needs to get another shot if he can. Lancer's coming right up. They're going to get picked easily. And a good shot from the Nesta Bees. Not enough to kill, though.
Yeah, you can see Marine Lord
the villagers to heal him.
doing a good
Another shot. Picking apart the ranged mass. These Nesta Bees are being very difficult to deal with. As Juganu are going down left and right. Lancer's finally getting on behind, but Spears running out a number. Maybe not enough to hold on to this. Villagers are repairing it, trying to keep it going. Meanwhile, they're still shooting.
The army count is falling steadily here for Puppy Paw, right? A lot of those units did fall to the Zuganu.
The Nesta Bees are doing great work in keeping him back here, and keeping Marine Lord back, but the army count from Puppy Paw is dwindling severely, and now a mass horseman switch behind this for Marine Lord.
He's having a food problem right now. He's been dealing with raids in the back of his base the entire time, and he's running out of food resources at home. He really is probably, at this point, almost 20 minutes in, you start thinking about when do you go for the granary transition, but he has no time to do so because every ounce of wood he's got has been going back into these Nesta Bees. He does have 1,300 in the bank, so he could start a granary transition. He probably needs to start thinking about what he's going to do with food long term, as that keep falls down to the Trebs. Meanwhile, a Palace Guard switch behind this. His Puppy Paw now has amassed 18, 19 of these big boys. And with nothing but Juganu and a couple of crossbows, Puppy can get these guys in position fast enough. He could do a lot of good work with these. Meanwhile, Nesta Bees getting picked on by the horsemen. And they get out in time. They're going to take a couple good shots onto the Juganus, and they just fall. Excellent hit right there. Meanwhile, one does get popped. Another one in danger. Palace Guard's finally catching up with some spears of their own. Another Nesta Bees is popped. He needs to get round. Another one goes down to just 2. And the last one maybe as well. No. Keeps that one going. So he's got 3 now as one comes in reserve. What a fight.
The forward villagers of Puppy Paw got cleaned up pretty early in that fight. You see already 17 villager kills on the Marine Lord's belt now. But Puppy Paw still only 4 behind thanks to that Song Dynasty. Marine Lord has his own Nesta Bees on the field now. But against these Palace Guards, not exactly the unit of choice. Now Marine Lord's going to prioritize some crossbows. Yeah, luckily there's still some Lancers here to trade out against these Palace Guards. They will do very, very good work against them. Puppy Paw. A forward keep was an interesting idea, but I feel like it wasn't really...
Maybe too aggressive?
I think so. I mean, you outscale Jushi in this kind of a situation. I mean, maybe not with against 4 relics, I'm not too sure, but You have the stronger late game. I feel like you can just play to secure map control and maybe be fine, but
Kind of wish Puppy had gotten that second ranged upgrade for defense, because I feel like the Jugs really kind of tore apart those palace guards a little faster than I would have expected to. Meanwhile, Jing Jing Tower coming up for Marine Lord.
yeah, the lack of undermesh level 2 for Papipo really hurt him throughout those entire several fights there, right? Against the Zuganu, for the Palace Guards as well, they ended up taking way more damage than they normally should have. And now...
Man, Marine Lord's got a ton of wood. 3,300 some odd wood. I think we hear him trading it off now.
Yeah.
He could probably go for a full granary transition at this point.
Yeah, Song Dynasty has
not
just
probably,
come
he
in
could.
now, right? So it's definitely about to be a full granary transition here for Marine Lord. And Papipo, I think, is quite a bit behind in terms of getting anywhere near ready for his farm transition. As we see now, Marine Lord's wood steadily depleting as granaries are starting to get dropped. Marine Lord in a pretty comfortable spot, really. I mean, he went Yuan Dynasty for those early pagodas. I think he got them in already, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there's only one in the monastery, so the pagodas, yeah, there we go. Stacked full of relics, every single one of them giving over 100 resources a minute.
Wow.
Oh,
That's a ton.
a lot
Oh my
of
goodness.
Way more than 100, actually. I underestimated it. And with the Song Dynasty in now, his granary transition is going to be secured as well. And Papipo, that push, I think, really stalled his economic output behind it, because he's doing the raid now.
It definitely feels like he could have sat back and maybe made that farm transition a little earlier, secured his base a bit, because he kind of doesn't need a lot of room to operate back at home. But here, and speaking of back at home, as our game slows down for a second, we can see in freeze frame, a bunch of Lancers just waiting to land into the vills in the wood line.
Take your screenshots now whilst you can, as this is a war in stills that we are seeing at the very moment. Bear with us while we try to figure out any issues.
This is strange.
Yeah, I think we're having just a little issues on the observing side here. I think Vodka might be having some slight technical issues. Bear with us as we try to...
It's looking like they have an in-game pause, so it looks like maybe someone had to do a quick pause. Strange.
Oh. That's unfortunate.
Okay. Not sure what's going on there, but we'll figure something out and get back to you guys in just a second on that.
Yeah,
Pretty sure that they're fine. It looks like they're fine in games. Looks like the game itself is good. It looks as if they just paused, and maybe there's a bug with the observation with pausing it, is what it's looking like.
Yeah, no.
We should be able. I think we should be able to reload back in and catch back up. I would hope. And then
there's no need.
Timing. So
there's no need to worry.
Someone must have had to go potty really badly. You know, it happens. I guess.
Happens to the best of us, right?
Happens to the best of us. You know, maybe one too many cups of coffee. You know.
Can take its toll, you know?
How it goes.
What a nail-biting moment for this to happen. Quite unfortunate, but
I know.
well,
In a
nail-biting.
really intense part of the game.
It was in a part where both sides are very, they're setting up towards that mid to late game, and economies are starting to boom, and fights are going to start really being really on a larger scale. But just bear with us as we figure things out. And
do you think, like, if they're going, if this was for like a bathroom break, do you think that they go in there, sit on the toilet, and think about, okay, what can I do better when I come back?
Oh,
Now that I've got a minute
100%.
to think.
100%. Yeah, you definitely. Of course.
All right, we're back. This is already 23 minutes in. Wow, this was quick. Okay, I can't hear anything, but I can see things. Okay, there's those Lancers that we were looking at earlier in the base, running back. Sounds like there's no sound.
Yeah. Might be.
But we can see. At least we can see, so we can fight, so we can cast, we can watch. Lancers running on the back. Man, those things took a bit of a beating. There was a lot more of those before the pause break, as opposed to after. I wonder if some of them had to go potty too. One of them just getting ran around by the crossbows of Puppy Pot. But there's a wall back there. He's gonna get stuck. He's not long for this world. We can just say goodbye, sweet prince.
Yeah, nice little secondary wall coming up there for Bobby Ball in the south of his base. Whereas Marine Lord prepping to have the triple trebs left earlier from when he sieged down that keep, and a pretty comfortable villager lead as well as just overall economic lead here. Looking at the income per minute, upwards of 4,000 here for Marine Lord, whereas Bobby Ball barely breaking 2,000.
Yeah, the food income for Puppy now is just skyrocketing. Wow. He was kind of running low on food for a minute, and now he's just skyrocketed back up to 2,000. Looking really clean in the last couple minutes. That's a big mass too. 51-46. Things have calmed down in this fight now.
They really have.
Yeah,
Both players are quite scared of pushing too far deep, right? I mean, you know, with Nesta Bees as a threat, it's so easy to look away at the wrong time when you're overextended and suddenly find yourself just suddenly with the game lost, just like that. And that's the power of this unit, which, you know, it's definitely a unit in AoE 4, without a doubt. The Nesta Bees.
You need to point us to the fact that Marine Lord is in Imperial Age.
Oh, yes, he is. We didn't even catch that.
Adding up his at the moment as well. I think we've jumped ahead in time just a little bit here. It feels like a lot has happened in that moment. Catching back up here. We got upgrades coming in. Marine Lord's eco is fully on. This is where it gets really sketch, right? Like, Marine Lord's eco is just fully online. Puppy Paws is about to be as well. As soon as he needs to make a transition. Puppy Paw hasn't yet. Oh, this is so sketch, I feel like, because you're going into Imperial Age without a farm transition made. We've already got incendiary arrows coming in from Marine Lord, so the Juganu just launching missiles.
Oh, and the villagers here.
Oh, what are you doing, Puppy
What are they doing? What are they doing?
The lack of a wall.
No.
Oh no, Puppy Ball. The lack
42
of a
villager
wall
kills in
on-
like a blink of an eye.
No wall on
What
that
did I
south
just
side.
witness?
That was painful for Puppy Ball. And
We just
is that game?
Is Puppy Paw? What is going on?
Is that just like,
I don't know anymore, guys.
do I leave? That is what people must be asking himself right now. Oh no. That is so painful.
All I know is that there has just been a mass casualty event, and I don't know how Puppy Paw is ever going to recover from it.
The amount of chaos this game is even causing the very game itself to suffer. Great Wall Gatehouse is up on the front now for Puppy Paw. I mean, the villager loss is definitely hurt, but luckily, I mean, it's 2TC Song, right?
It's
It could
2TC
be
song.
worse.
You just lost 42. You know, what do you mind?
It could be worse.
Just make some more.
Oh my
Yikes.
god, look at the food income socket and the lack of a farm transition.
Oh man, it's so bad. This is not good for Puppy. He's got like a patch of berries left, and that's about it. Meanwhile, knock knock in the back door. Who is it? It's Marine Lord with all the cavalry you don't want in your base. And here they go. He's gonna be like, all right, where are the farms at? And he's gonna be like, wait, there's no farms.
Yeah, he's
Eating
gonna be so
what is going on?
I think
Where are the farms at?
this raid is going to be a big problem for Puppy Paw, not only in terms of villages, but I think Marine Lord gaining this crucial information that there's not a single farm for Puppy Paw means that he's just going to push in. He knows that in a war of attrition, what's Puppy Paw going to do?
Die. That's the answer. That's all he's gonna do. I don't see how you get back into this. Like, Puppy Paw might not know it, but unless Marine Lord really kind of throws here, I don't know how you get back in. I mean, it's 2TC song, right?
Do you know,
Does he even have two
I'd
town
love
centers?
to see Marine Lord's POV right now as he realizes there's not a single farm in Puppy Paw's base.
I don't even think he's got two town centers. I think he's just got the one. So he's on Song Dynasty. That's great. As we see, the Nest of Bees are the only things that give any kind of semblance of a chance to Puppy Paw here. Getting swallowed up by Palace Guards. Those horsemen having to run back. But Great Wall Gatehouse trying to do its thing. Nest of Bees firing as much as they can. More villagers going down. 50 now, almost dead. 2-1.
Yeah, dynastic
How do you
protectors
come
prioritized
back?
here for Marine Lord, right? So we do see those Yuan Raiders, the fastest unit in the game, hitting the field, as well as the Imperial Guards for Marine Lord as well. One of the best cavalry in the game as well, especially
Kind of wish
against
Puppy Paw
melee units.
had taken some of those nested bees, ground them into the earth with the wood, and made farms instead out of that wood. But he's still, I guess, alive.
Hey.
However you want to define alive.
Who needs
Alive, and then he can still play.
who needs farms when you have nested beasts? So
Right. What was I kidding? Let them eat cake, just make Nesta bees, let them eat cake. Who needs farms?
They will eat.
Meanwhile, Vils and the gold are dying in the corner of the screen. And,
oh yeah, plenty of them.
And that's game called.
Yeah, it's just it's too much. A bit of a even now the sounds are playing in the game as bear with us as the technical issues get fixed, but
turns out Nesta bees do not come with honey, so not
what
enough
an
food there
unfortunate shame.
Unfortunate. They should fix that. I'd like them to officially fix that, and we should be able to getting passive food resources from the honey that clearly Nesta bees produce. But anyways, Marine Lord takes game number 5 in a very, I wouldn't say dramatic, but very strange turn of events. Somehow, he was ahead, I think, there anyways, but in a rather chaotic fashion, we could say, takes game number 5. However, that's not it. We are not done, because this is not a best of 5. It is a best of 7. So it's match point for Marine Lord. Puppy Paw needs a couple more wins to secure his place moving on if he wants to. But he's won 2 against Marine Lord, so it can be done. But after that last one, that's got to be pretty rough.
Yeah, especially as Puppy Paw is very much known for his Chinese, one of the scariest Chinese players in the scene. Chinese in terms of Civ, not nationality, of course, just to clarify that for some people. However, we're getting ready for our game number 6 in this series, and looks like it's another series that's really going the mile here. Puppy Paw finding himself trading a game behind and now on match point. We already have our next matchup. It is going to be Delhi Sultanate or Marine Lord up against Puppy Paw's Mongols on Relic River. Another classic matchup on a pretty fitting map for these two civs.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be interesting to see. I think Puppy Paw is pretty comfortable with Mongols. He really likes that civ. I see him play it a lot on ladder, and when he streams, it's usually one of his top picks from what I've seen. Like this and Japanese are like, I think, 2 of his better civs. So we'll see how that fares. Marine Lord, obviously, I mean, both these players are exceptional with all civs. Marine Lord with Delhi, very good aggressive civ. Which if you were playing, which would you prefer to have on that map in this matchup?
Very tough to call, because I think, the map really plays a factor because of its uniqueness. That shoreline fish in the south, I think, can really impact a lot of things as to which civ goes for a dock play. If we're talking like standardly, I would have to give the edge over to Delhi. I think they're just superior on a standard land map, even with the access to the Keshiks that the Mongols have. But things on a map like Relic River can definitely, go differently than you might expect in some situations. As both players can opt for the dark, there's potential Dark Age spear shenanigans from the Mongols. A lot of different directions the game can take us.
We'll have to see here in just a second. Puppy Paw on the ropes, needs to take another game to make this one go the distance as well. We've already seen a 7-game series today. Our last one, CSO, duking it out and getting a win after 7 games. But can Puppy Paw do the same, or will Marine Lord close it out in 6? Coming up very soon here. Boy, what a wacky game this last one was, huh? Not a single farm built by Puppy. I'm just scratching my head a little bit there. Like, I guess it makes sense because Frisian Marshes has so much resources on it. So many places you can get food. But in the end, like, gotta make farms eventually. But Relic River coming up here in just a little bit. But let's see. So if Puppy Paw wins this one, let's look ahead. We've had Bald Land would be the last one. So assuming Puppy Paw can somehow, manage to go the distance against Marine Lord, what civs would you expect to see of the ones remaining for Bald Land?
It must be House of Lancaster for Puppy Paw, I would assume. Just because Abbasid on Bald Land, there's not a lot of wood to work with, I think. And for Marine Lord, Marine Lord has... Oh, this has access to Marlins. For Marine Lord, I think either of those can be very, very solid options on Bald Land. So I think Puppy Paw... Well, I mean, he needs to win this game for sure.
He got to win this game to even get there, yeah.
Yeah, and then if
Kinda
he
looking
does, he still has a tough one in Borderlands, as both Japanese and Marlins are very, very solid civilizations on Borderlands. Whereas House of Lancaster, not so much, I would say, right? I mean, obviously the passive economy from Manors is great for them, but the lack of
Feels
wood
really
on
exposed.
the map,
Yeah,
it's tough, yeah.
Well, and Abba likewise doesn't feel great on a map like that. I feel like we haven't seen Abba yet today, but not a lot of places with that second town center. Kind of sketchy, but we got about a minute before we dive in on Relic River here. Mongols and Delhi. Do you go trade with Mongols on Relic River or not?
I don't think it's worth it.
Don't think so? Go Yam Network instead?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
The thing is, like, against Delhi, even on a great trade map like Hill and Dale or Prairie, it's pretty difficult against the Ghazis, right? And obviously with the threat of sacred sites in tempo. And on a map where the trade bus is not ideal like here, I don't imagine it'll be it would work very well for Puppy Paw, unfortunately.
Sacred sites don't feel super easy to get to either. I mean, they're kind of just down that river, so it's not like Delhi's going to have one safe one or anything. He's got to have to go out and fight for every inch of land he gets. It'll be an interesting matchup as we get ready to dive on in here. You are watching the Elite Classic 3, hosted by EGC TV. I'm Sockton, that's Myriad. As we dive into game number 6 here, Marine Lord versus Puppy Paw, coming up in just a second.
Shortly as we get underway.
Should be going, hopefully, hopefully no other bathroom breaks, pauses, mailmen at the door that you need to sign for things come up.
It's an interesting point you bring about the sacred sites in the south, especially because, with the proximity to that sacred site from the shoreline fish, it can really make a big impact for either side as to who has control over that side, and actually spawns on Marine Lord's side. That's so good for him. Speaking of Marine Lord, in game number 6 between his set against Puppy Paw, spawning towards the eastern side of the map as the blue Delhi Sultanate, and his opponent on the left side, it will be Puppy Paw in the red Mongols. We are on Relic River here today, and this matchup promises a lot of volatility.
I like the spot of the OVO with the TC right in between. He could double up on Vils if he ever wanted to. You don't see that very often. Normally the standard is just power rush and send out the spears, but he's got the option with that OVO being nicely tucked next to the gold. Meanwhile, pretty standard stuff from Delhi here. Now, if you're looking to tower, both the berries and the gold are forward, so Puppy Paw could easily, tower up and get some early aggression going on up there.
It's a possibility, right? I mean, historically, Mongols, of course, big fans of the tower rush. With the space on the way, that could definitely be on the cards for him. Not a great spawn here for Marine Lord, which it doesn't even feel right to say for him, right? It's so rare. With the forward gold and the forward berries here. Prime spot for a tower, and as well as the deer pack actually on the front there for Marine Lord. This is quite bad actually for him.
There's a lot of stuff forward. I mean, the only thing he's got back behind him is a stone and a bit of wood.
And on top of it, the secondary berries as well, to the south.
Yeah, not a lot going here for Marine Lord. This, everyone always says, oh, the Marine Lord spawn. This would not be the quote-unquote Marine Lord spawn. This does not seem like it's going to favor him a whole lot as Puppy looking to get a tower up. He says, forget that wolf in particular. And spears in place, ready to go. I think he's going to dive onto the berries. And they might, yeah, he does indeed. He's going to start poking and get some idle time right off the bat. Try and torch down the mill if he can.
Definitely want to push the Delhi off of the berries if you can, right? The extra gather rate is so good for them, so denying that is certainly effective at Marino. Ooh, getting a bit dangerous with that villager there. Almost goes down, but big damage on the spear at the garrison actually. I wonder if that was actually intentional there from Marine Lord. As
the spears again, getting another 1,000 to one dies, the second one. Oh, that's so painful.
This game was always going to come already. This game was always going to come down to really clean micro early in the game, but that right there feels like a bit of a misplay. Probably really just needs to get this mill lit on fire now and get some kind of value back out of it. We see the Khan's Bird, the only air unit in the game that I'm aware of.
I'd honestly be quite surprised to actually see this tower finish in this position. I mean, Puppy losing what? Both space? No, he lost one of the space because he opted for just 2 double produced batches and no single production, which he's going to fix now as he puts another singular spear in queue. Marine Lord could very well opt to just go out with the prelate, the scholar, sorry, and look to torch down and deny this tower completely, and I think he could do it.
don't think he will, though. It looks like it will go up. You were right. There was kind of a window where he could have denied it. Instead, he's going to focus on the Dome of Faith instead. This mill almost torched up here. Meanwhile, Marine Lord is trying to shoot down the deer. I guess not quite sure what the purpose of that would be besides just scattering them for Peepaw.
He wants to prevent Puppy Paw from spreading them out too much beyond the tower, right? Yeah. Because now, obviously, the zone is inaccessible for Marine Lord at this point in time. So, Puppy Paw could use that advantage to just shove the deer out however far his heart desires. As Marine Lord is going to repair the mill, so no bounty in for Puppy Paw from that yet. And the Scholar is going to do a good job in healing here for him. This is a big drain on Marine Lord's wood, though, as you can see. His bank already depleted.
And that's so critical early because he needs to get the production building up ASAP. He is going to be able to get that archer range up, but he is losing a lot of wood. He's not able to make an archer very easily for some time. Ovo just in a nice little spot. A couple spearmen already came from it. I'll be curious to see if we get any villagers up at any point if Puppybot opts to do that. Meanwhile, spears move over to the mining camp instead. Say, well, that mill was kind of rough business, but this one we can torch down. Surely this will work.
Surely, right?
I'm sure
Archer's
no one's
now
going to come and bother us.
Yeah, well, for now, right? The Archer
sure enough, there's the Vil right on cue. Just like, oh, no. Sorry, we're closed today. Please leave.
Yeah, no more of that, at least for now. Now, the spears are going to continue being annoying here. And I wonder if Marine Lord is waiting for this age up for him to actually go for that torch before the arrow slits does come through for him. I wonder if he opted for any kind of textiles. I don't think so, judging by the villager count.
Doesn't look like it. Marine Lord actually up a couple here. Maybe some delay in Puppy Paw's TC.
Yeah, a bit of the... Part of it's probably just placing the TC down initially for Mongols, right?
Oh, that's true.
Behind half a villager. But it's a bit more than half a villager, right? So definitely maybe a little bit of idle time, or perhaps the TC went further than regularly, which does seem to be the case, right? Because he didn't opt for the wood line. He went for this stone and gold position instead. Which is quite rare nowadays, actually.
And that wood line is just asking for a tower. But Archer's already on the field now for Marine Lord. Be able to push this back. It's annoying con. Doesn't do any much damage to the villagers, of course, but annoying regardless, and can trickle damage in. Spears sitting on the berries and the deer. Not a lot of food long-term for Marine Lord. He's going to need to get that tower down eventually to reclaim it, which he's got enough units now he probably could.
Yeah, and Marine Lord opting for a full...
Could have pulled, like you said, if he'd just pulled the Scholar in the beginning with the Vils, he could have just healed him up and torched it from the beginning, but
yeah, he really could have.
It's making it so much harder to get rid of now.
Even in that early feudal age, right? Like, he could have just rushed textiles, went out with a Scholar, and he could have pushed it even easier than he would have whilst it was going up outside of.
Ooh, this is arrows. Really aggressive on the food front here. Obviously, Delhi needs food, and the other one's towered up right now, so going out for the berries. But Keshik already on the field. Spears and archers able to defend and hold this off, but now that Puppybot knows it's there, you know he's going to send some more stuff over there.
Absolutely,
or pushing at home where the units are no longer at. As we see right here, Keshik number 1 in. That's going to be a Vil kill.
Nice,
one goes down
there. Yeah, and this is dangerous here for Puppy Paw because of the... I mean, as we mentioned, that tower... The amount of value from that tower just can't be understated. Double berries denied, gold denied, deer pack denied, all by one single 100 wood tower. So,
yeah, it's a lot of value you can get out of it. Meanwhile, Marine Lord does have his units coming back home, but this is kind of tricky thing. When you split away from home, now it gets a lot easier for Puppybot to do both, right? He can be in multiple places with the Keshiks being so much faster than these infantry, even though some are kind of weak. He's got the speed. He could like send some more back on those berries later. I mean, that Marine Lord's kind of open to some poking and prodding here. If Puppy can get enough damage done, it's going to be really tough for Marine Lord to hold on.
It really will. Now, the one respite here for Marine Lord is the fact that this is pretty much a full committal here from Puppy. As we see, all of his resources are going into units. There is no economic upgrades being added, no blacksmith upgrades as of yet. This is just full, non-stop units here from Puppy Paw.
So if Marine Lord is able to weather the storm, at least initially, without being put too much farther behind, his upgrade advantage in terms of these free technologies should really start adding up in his favor.
Yeah, we do see the first scholar heading out towards the sacred site, trying to get that gold trickle in for Marine Lord. He has nobody on gold. He hasn't had anyone gold for a while. That really is his only scholar, I think. Meanwhile, archers and spears duking it out here just outside, and that's going to get Marine Lord off of the wood. He's going to go to the back wood line now. Meanwhile, other scholar, there's two. That one goes down. That means this one's the last one that I can see.
Yeah,
and sure enough, that's the last scholar.
Indeed.
It's precarious.
Yeah, this scholar must be kept alive, because besides this, where else will Marine Lord get his gold outside of his exercise? There is that mining camp to the north of his base besides his berries, but that's not very safe either. And
he is sending units that way.
To build.
I don't know if they're heading towards the food or the gold. He has got some units by that gold on the north side of his base.
Yeah, and
now they're just on the food. He just needs food more than anything else, which makes sense as Delhi. Probably really should get those Keshiks back on there. Even with a tower, he could easily push them away.
No, it's so scary.
Still hasn't gotten a sacred site down yet. Man, it's been 10 minutes. Really wish he could have wanted to get that one earlier.
Yeah, I feel like he brought off the scholar off of it for some reason, because he was like halfway through capturing it at one point, and I think there might have been a bit of a misclick once that Keshik interrupted it potentially. Keshik now runs past, looking for a raid maybe to further push Marine Lord's army out of position. Nice find here by the Keshiks. None of these units will deal with them. Meanwhile, Puppypaw's main mass at the front, looking to contest the side, but I think there's a numbers disadvantage here that he can't quite overcome. Too many archers and too many spearmen for those Keshiks to do any work.
Yeah, I feel like there's a battle of two fronts right now. The raid on the back and then this sacred site contention going on right now. Keshik's doing a pretty good job, but the archer number is just not enough for Puppypaw to hold on this. And the
but the wraparound with the Keshiks from behind.
Oh,
they're going to completely envelop the archers. This is terrible for Marine Lord.
An excellent play, bringing him away from the raid and cleaning up. The scholar running for his life with an inch of his life. The archer is chasing after him in the top corner of your screen and is now out of sight. The sacred site now being decapped by Puppy. There's one scholar in play. He needs to go find him and take him out. That one archer was chasing after him. I wonder if he caught up to him ever. Yep, there he goes, and he's down into the trees. He dies. Big win for Puppypaw, and suddenly, I mean, this is looking pretty good. Now, Marine Lord is securing up that gold and the berries here on the north side, so that'll be good for him. Puppypaw suddenly feeling pretty good, like he's got maybe a bit of an edge in this game now, and that tower, gosh, still there 11 and a half minutes in.
A bit of an edge is an understatement, I would say, as I think Puppypaw definitely in a commanding position in this game so far. Having access to the day behind his base safely is a huge boost for him, and he could just so easily he could pivot forward onto that boar as well. I'm actually surprised he hasn't as of yet, but no sights locked in for Marine Lord, finding himself back against the wall with very limited food access, no gold access, only one scholar so far, Sockerton, after the other one got picked off on the side.
You know, at what point would the Tower of Victory maybe have been better for the bonus and health of some of those units? It just feels like he's had no gold, because usually you want to have 2 on gold at all points, right, to keep the scholars going, but he hasn't been on gold for a while. So I don't think he's had enough scholars to make a difference here.
It is extra attack speed as opposed to health, but it might have been
that's true.
Yeah, but it might have been a good choice in this game because of the tower, right? Like this is something we have seen done a few times where players will opt to pivot into that Tower of Victory specifically when they are denied off of gold, and it can really pay fruit as a result. Now, my estimation was that Marine Lord doesn't opt for it specifically because he doesn't intend that tower to stay up for very long, but I must say, I'm so surprised that it's still up. Like, he had such an opportunity to take it down. And I know that Marine Lord is a man of fine margins and value, but I feel like even the idle time would have been worth it to secure all that res on the front side.
There's so much there. I mean, 2 berry packs, a deer pack, and the gold. I mean, that's 1 tower, 100 wood, a couple spears. That's all it took. The OVO, more than paying for itself, right? With all the value that Puppy's gotten out of it, those units and stuff. Meanwhile, it just feels like Marine Lord just running back and forth. And with those berries almost depleted, there is one little bush right there, but not super safe. He's running out of places to run. There's a forward deer. He's looking to move out on that sacred site. Maybe he can hold it finally. But right in time, Puppy's got a pretty good mass. It's 39 to 49 military. Finally, a Marine Lord raid back on Puppypaw. Immediately found out by the Keshiks. I don't think he even got a Vil kill, just some damage dealt. Yeah, Marine Lord needs to, I mean, some more raids would be really helpful, I think. Maybe disrupt Mongols reinforcements or something. But everywhere he goes, the Khan right here, just sniping out and knowing that there is now villagers on the deer as Archer and Archer dukes it out over on top of the sacred site, which still just not quite captured for Marine Lord.
Yeah, he's still struggling to find an angle here to really assert the map control that he desperately needs to come back into this game. The mass is looking really good for him. A lot of archers now on the field, as well as a decent number of spears and guards behind this. This might be favorable here for Marine Lord, right? With the archer count.
It's looking okay. I mean, the tricky thing is that Puppy hasn't really dealt that much damage besides taking some map control and making it uncomfortable. He's only done one worker kill, He's only down one Vil. Otherwise, he's taken some of the scholars out. But here we're seeing some pretty good engagement and pretty good fighting from Marine Lord. The Ghazi Raiders with the spears doing pretty good work. The military numbers in favor of Marine Lord. And that archer mass is just enough to be doing some damage.
And this is the power of those free economic techs being manifested here, right? We highlighted earlier the key point of Papipo intentionally putting on as much aggression as he possibly can, spending all his resources in doing so, foregoing economic upgrades, and that ends up manifesting itself later in the game if you don't manage to get significant damage done. The army count speaks for itself. I mean, Marine Lord has had his upgrades for such a long time, whereas Papipo only recently managed to add in most of them, and it'll be a while before they kick off. And the result of that
dive
is...
here onto the Vils. One goes down, so now it evens up the worker Vil kills. Archer's just kind of kiting back and forth. That's a lot of Keshiks, not a lot of spears anymore, so probably not something that Marine Lord really wants to stick around with for too terribly long, but overall, still a pretty okay engagement. Ghazi's going down by. Archer's they've got to run now. Now it's too much, but a lot of really close to being killed Keshiks.
Yeah,
so
that's
a good
scary,
trade still. And then Archer Bass is just a lot. Good charges in from the Keshiks, but they're going to start dropping really quick.
Yeah, Marine Lord, I think,
Honestly,
is fine to sacrifice some archers here because he recognizes how many low HP Keshiks there were. He intentionally went back in there specifically to force a fight and try to snipe these out. And now look, the Keshik count has been pretty much reset. There's so few left, and the archer count is double in favor of Marine Lord now.
The tricky thing is I don't know how Puppy Paw follows this up. He hasn't done any big crucial damage, like no Vil kills. Like that's the problem. He had all these, I feel like he had some opportunities to really harass Marine Lord, but just hasn't really landed any blows, minus a couple scholars. Now with the military league just kind of getting out of hand, Delhi can just keep pumping units. As long as Marine Lord has food, he can fight and win.
Exactly. And food access is something that is becoming more and more available to him now. The only thing left as a thorn in his side at this point in time is that tower in the north, which with this kind of a mass he could slowly start to think about torching. However, it's worth noting that the majority of his army is not exactly capable of the decap. Very sneaky.
That was some good micro there, just kind of back and forth, keeping on the sacred site. I mean, if Puppy had like an angle for castle, he'd be doing okay. He's got the gold, but he's just not have the food. Seems like Puppy's having some food problems of his own right now, actually. He's moved onto the board. That'll help substantively.
And it will. People recovering now a little bit in this game. Kesha count building, archer count building as well. Marine Lord not greeding for any kind of premature castle age at this point in time. Still massing a lot of units. More Ghazis and spears in queue, as well as archers. Up to 47 archers now, Marine Lord. That could be critical mass here, and maybe too much for Puppy to handle. However, his own mass is not too far behind. More than half now as opposed to before.
It's scary, but Puppy Paw is at least keeping himself in this. Feels like Marine Lord just had to hold, and finally he's saying, enough of this tower. What are we doing? You have been a thorn in my side for too long, he says, Marine Lord, as this tower is quickly going to pop down. And the forces in it will be casualties of their own destruction.
And taking this tower down is so significant here for Marine Lord. I mean, the amount of food this opens up, not only the rest of those berries, only half of which are depleted, not even actually, as well as an entire deer pack and another additional full set of berries. That's so much food going over for Puppy Paw now. Puppy Paw, who himself actually looks to make a play onto the shorefish with villagers.
It's actually a nice call. You know, he's already got them out there. Might as well. He's already kind of close to the boar, so, you know, might as well go get more food. Like, he is struggling for food, so does need to get as much as he can. Although, now they're just kind of sitting there. Those are the archers.
This could be a pivotal point here, though, right? Because right as that massive amount of villages is moving south for Puppy Paw, you can see him intentionally going towards the north side, towards that waterfall, to not draw Marine Lord's army too far south, as this is not a position that Puppy can hold, I would say. Although, there's a good number of Keshiks and his archers aren't too far behind.
But the archers have been doing pretty good damage. They've got the +1, so they negate that -1. There's the Ovo getting torched down pretty quickly. That's pretty aggressive Ovo.
Yeah, he had
close to Marine Lord's base.
I wonder if he just planned on fully securing this side of the map here, specifically because he's going for food there, but keeping it safe is going to be a bit difficult, because if Puppy Paw's not careful, his food income is going to get severely idled here. I mean, if Marine Lord knew that the food income for Puppy Paw is here, like a big portion of it, oh, I think he's going to find out. Is he pushing forward? No. Oh, Puppy Paw gets away with it.
That was close. Really close. Man, he is being sneaky. We do see farms coming down now for Marine Lord. He is going to solve the food crisis as best he can. Puppy Paw needs to take a good fight somewhere. He needs to set things down because, yeah, Marine Lord getting close to go for a Castle Age play here. He just needs those sacred sites to give him a little more gold. Maybe even move some vills onto it. He's got to keep up the military numbers as well. Puppy Paw definitely has a lot here. It's 86-56, but you can't blink. You know, you could lose a lot in a quick amount of time if you're not careful. Kashyyyks, though, just getting kind of kited back and forth. They just don't seem to have the arm to deal with, you know, 57 archers all at once.
It is a nice timing found there by Puppy Paw to go in. Not that he knows, but Marine Lord is very close to prepping a Castle Age behind this, right? And that's a great time to strike. However, you mentioned he just doesn't really have the count to go for any decisive push here, Puppy Paw does. So, as a result of this, he can't get the damage that he so desperately craves in this situation. And I think once this push is dealt with, well, these raids are dealt with, I mean, by Marine Lord, he's going to go to the Castle Age, and from that position, I think Puppy Paw is going to find himself struggling.
Yeah, it looks like Marine Lord's in a pretty commanding spot. House of Learning coming up. At this point, I think you're right a little on the head about the eco upgrades and the upgrades and stuff. Marine Lord just needs to hold. He gets those for free. It was really rough in the beginning, but eventually more food became accessible, which is kind of the opposite of what you want to do to Delhi. You want Delhi to run out of food and then collapse. Instead, Marine Lord had to hold and bunker down and then was able to get onto more food, which has enabled him to get to this point. Puppy Paw not having those upgrades really kind of slowed him down. He just kind of ran out of steam, as now Marine Lord returning the favor on the food front, raiding the vills on that far deer. They've got nowhere to go but to stand and fight, and you feel like this might just be GG's.
Oh yeah, this is such a painful fight.
And there's the age up on top of that.
Yeah, this should be in a lot of cases. This is just a GG moment, right? Not only you get discovered at the same time, and then you see the opponent is up on age at the same time. But obviously, there's a lot on the line here, so Puppy Paw will not go down without a fight as he makes a grand entrance into Marine Lord's base. The deciding match, and potentially this series, is here as Puppy Paw looks forward to push here. The engagement got to the Gazis.
Gazis are almost gone. Kashyyyks, though, getting critical shot as well, just a little by little dropping. Archer mass, it's 72-54. Puppy needs to do a decisive blow to win this. But that Archer blob under the TC fire looks like it's going to be a lot. I don't know if he's going to get enough done with this.
Oh, and just
Lancers
the amount
now
of
on the
swings.
field for Marine Lord. I just don't think it's going to be enough.
It's not enough. It was a valiant effort, but just seeing 7 Keshiks surrounding a Man-at-Arms and it taking them a whole 3 seconds to kill it tells you all you need to know, as these Keshiks moving for a desperate charge forward onto the mass. Good connection there. A lot of the charges do go through, but there's just way too many archers here. And with 12 scholars garrisoned here for Marine Lord, the veterancy is not far out now. Kilji in research as well. Own blades for Marine Lord's Men-at-Arms and Lancers, and economies, yeah. Puppy Paw knows. GG is called as Marine Lord.
6 games. But Marine Lord, yeah, finally closing this one out and defeats Puppy Paw again, but not without a little more strife, as Puppy Paw gets 2 wins against him, but falls 4-2 ultimately to Marine Lord as he takes a win with Delhi in game number 6. Another series that just about went the distance. Whew, what a game.
fantastic series. Both series today were just incredible, and you see it was a 4-2 finish in the end for Marine Lord, but the games were so competitive here for Puppy Paw. It looked like pretty much most of the games could go either way. They were so close and nail-biting. Puppy Paw really putting up a steadfast front here today, making Marine Lord definitely sweat today.
And that means Marine Lord is going to move on to face Beastie next weekend in the semifinals.
Oh,
That'll be a series to look forward to as well.
El Grande Clásico, as some people would say, of AoE 4
Yeah.
there. We have Beastie up against Marine Lord in their semifinals. That will be happening next weekend here on EGC TV, so make sure to check in for that one.
Yeah, but that is our last series today. Man, what a two really enthralling series. I think
What a
we
day.
did peak, however, at the spin to win in the first series, though, with the Onobugation. That was, I think, my favorite moment of all.
It's tough to top.
But it was tough to top, but we've had a lot of fun battles here. Man, what a couple set of games. It's really interesting when some games feel like they just tip either way. And I feel like we've had most games have felt that way. There's only been a couple games that really felt like they were kind of just over in the first 10 minutes, and it was just a matter of a formality to get there. Most of these have been back and forth battles, just pendulum swinging back and forth as each tech upgrade, each new unit on the field affecting things and making the calculus different. But all in all, fun couple series.
Yeah.
And we are going to be hearing from the winner of this series. Marine Lord is on deck to talk with us here. So we'll chat with him and get his thoughts on how things went. Marine Lord, congratulations, first of all, on a really good series against Puppy Paw. This one a little tougher than more recent series you've had against Puppy Paw. What was different in this one?
I mean, I think he played his normal level. Like in group stage, I think he really played bad compared to what he's doing in practice. I talked to Anoton about it, and he was telling me that Puppy Paw was doing very good, and I believe the same. But then in tournament, it was looking very bad, so today I really think he was very hard to beat. So I guess he played pretty well.
Yeah, it looked like it. I mean, some of those games just went back and forth and back and forth. But you will come out with the win 4-2, so you do it in 6. What do you think was your best game of the series?
Probably the Templar one. I lost, but it's a very hard matchup.
That was a really tough game. Man, that was an insane one.
Like
That
when I
was,
saw
I think,
the
our
draft-
longest game as well.
When I saw the draft, I was praying for him to pick Ottoman on this map, because Ottoman against Templar is pretty close. I think Ottoman, like Japanese, can do okay against House of Lancaster, but I think Templar against House of Lancaster is a misery. It's like pretty much almost impossible to do, and I tried a different game plan than what I usually do, and it almost worked. But I don't know. It was a lot of free units
That was a
coming
meat
my way.
grinder
It
of
was
a
very
game.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah, that one really felt like it could have gone either way. But a couple of games, I mean, you dropped, I think, the one Delhi game to Puppy Paw, but then this last one, it just, what was the difference? It felt like he was really on the driver's seat for the first half of that game, and then it felt like at some point you kind of moved out on the map and you just had the numbers all of a sudden. What was the difference in that game, do you think?
I mean, it's just a very different matchup. I think Puppy Paw's Japanese is very, very strong. So I was surprised about how he played it in the game I lost. And I think Delhi is not as good as before. Like in the current meta with Deer pushing, I think Delhi is not that good. But I wanted to have it actually against Japanese. And when he actually went for Deer and then played Feudal, I was not so sure how it would go. But it felt like a very hard matchup. Played it very well. And in the last game,
Yeah.
I think my spawn was a bit bad because normally, I mean, if you can tower rush both berries and gold, it's gonna be very hard for Delhi, I think. And on top of that, he could punch, he could hit my meal from a good distance, so like I couldn't protect my meal with my TC. On most of the maps, you can actually save your meal like that. So here it was another thing that is very hard to defend. Plus the wood lines are very hard to defend on this map. So I feel like Delhi against Mongol should be good for Delhi, but in this map, it's very close. So I don't know, I will have to watch the replay, but it was very, very hard.
Yeah, it looked like it was not easy. You managed to pull the win through there. It felt like you really were persevering on that one because, yeah, everything was forward. And that kind of feels like the story of today in many ways. Like just every single game, we were talking, Myriad and I were talking that it didn't feel like any one of those games was just a one and done, just easy win. Every single one was very well hard fought for. How do you feel after winning this one? Looking forward to your next series with Beastie next weekend.
I'm not sure. Like, I honestly think that right now in this meta, we didn't have enough practice on it, and it's very fresh and it keeps evolving. So I feel like pretty much anyone can beat anyone. And yeah, CSO did very well, obviously. Louis is very strong on the current meta. And I feel like everyone have their own like small pick that they like to play. I saw Beastie like to draft French very highly, for example. And everyone likes French right now, but he seems to like it more. We saw Louis and maybe B playing a lot of Ottoman. So I guess everyone have their own little series. Same for Pepipo. I was expecting some Order of the Dragon today, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, we didn't see that today, did we? What if you were to name like one or two civs that you feel the most comfortable with? I mean, I see you picked Delhi twice. What civ do you feel is like your home civ right now?
I don't think there is any. Maybe China, but it's just OP. So China and Rus is just very easy to play, and it's always the same game plan, so it's pretty easy. Zushi can be a bit hard, especially like this game of Zushi against China. I almost died, but it was so fucking tragic because I could almost go to Imperial and I couldn't spend my money right. So I'm not used to play with that 300% supervision, and I was trying to pump as many units as I could with it, and I was supervising pretty much all my stable and range, but I clearly underestimated the amount of production I needed for such a big economy, especially with the fish. It's very unique. So this one was a bit wild when I mismanaged my economy. I forgot the question. What did you say?
I do actually. I want to talk about the Chinese Zushi game you guys had. That one got kind of wacky at the end. Did you guys pause the game for something, or what happened there in the middle?
No. No.
It just was
nothing
wacky on our
really
end,
happened. We just had I mean, I complained about something in early castle. I'm not sure if I don't know. Like a bug happened, and I know it happened to another in practice, and he was very mad about it. So it was like my first attack on Castle Age. When I went to his base, I tried to charge his unit. My unit went torching his building, and then I clicked literally manually the units, and it would torch again. So I just ran away, and I was super like confused about
strange.
it. Yeah, I know how this
Kind of a
bug
bug
happened.
then.
So,
Okay.
yeah, but except
That one was a wild
nothing
game.
happened. Yeah.
That one was just craziness in the end, where you had all that wood that you just kind of built in all those farms. Then he had. Were you surprised when you went into his base towards the end of that game and you just didn't find a single farm?
I know I killed a bit of economy wall game. I was not that surprised. I was kind of surprised, but not super surprised. And overall, like this game, when I get 4 relics and then I get 3 pagodas and I don't die, normally I should win. But he almost killed me with a push. Other than that, it was, I think, the easiest game. But I mismacroed so hard that it was hard. But in theory, like, you can look at harvested resources, the graphs. It's super, super bad for him, the whole game. So I guess he was pretty dead from Castle Age to see late game.
Makes a lot of sense. Well, Marine Lord, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us after a very long, hard-fought 6-game series. And congratulations again on the win. We are excited to see you again next week. And the kitty cam.
Yeah.
Well, as a cozy-looking cat. What's the name?
She was bothering me to get some food. She's a bitch. It's okay. We love her.
We'll leave you to it so you can go feed your darling kitty cat there. And we'll see you again next week as you face off against BC. So congratulations again.
Bye-bye.
That was Marine Lord answering a couple questions for us about his games. Yeah, that Templar game of his on Templar versus Lancaster, that really was. I think he said that was his best game of the day. And I have to agree, that was a hard fought one back and forth. Of course, he dropped that game to Puppy Paw, but overall, looking really strong throughout the rest of the series. What a great day. Miria, do you have any last thoughts about how today went?
I'm just so glad I was able to cast because it was an amazing day of series, and myself being a player as well, I've learned a lot from watching a lot of the series today. So I look forward to implementing that in my own games going forward. But as before, Sokoton, it has been a pleasure casting alongside you today. We do get a little look at the brackets here for next week.
Yep. So our final results today, again, Marine Lord taking 4 of 6 against Puppy Paw, moving on to face Beastie in the semifinals next weekend. And a bit of an upset, I might say. I think people expected B to win, but CSO going the distance in a 7-game series, taking 4-3, taking it from B. We'll move on next week to play Louis MT in the semifinals. All that's going to be coming here right on the Elite Classic hosted by EGC TV next time. And mark the calendar. We got 6 days now. Saturday we start off, and then the finals on Sunday. Maria, this has been an absolute pleasure casting with you. Silly things and happenings all abound. Technical glitches, you name it, we've got it. But it's been fun nonetheless. It's been a real fun couple series, and it's been a pleasure as always casting with you.
Joy indeed. I look forward to hopefully doing it again soon. As everyone, mark your calendars. Like Sokoton said, next week will be the semifinals, only here on EGC TV. So make sure to tune in, and that's good night from me.
And myself as well. Have a great one. We'll catch you guys then.